only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of your favorite brews. I am Dan Baker.
Wait a fucking minute!
Not joined by my co-host and brewologist, Steph Hefner. She's off gallivanting and rocking.
You are, however, joined by your bro host.
Bro host? I am joined by my bro host.
Don't ever call me that.
The demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
We are not joined by Steph. She is off doing her own thing and having a good time. But we are here at the Delaware Museum of Natural History for, I think, one of my favorite events ever, just because I love everything about it. Wine and Dinosaurs, which includes beer, which is why we're here.
Yeah, wine and dinosaurs, in parentheses, and beer.
Yes. They added beer a couple of years ago. We were here, I think it was the first year that they did it, first or second?
We had a conversation before we sat down with one of the guys here from one of the breweries, and he seemed to think it was the year before we were here, 2015. We were here in 2016. But either way, it was right around when we recorded here the first time that they added beer to the lineup, which is super cool. Shout out to Cal Driscoll, who is the guy who coordinates all the beer stuff here at the event. He's walking around sipping beers already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been 3 years, and we're back. We were here right around our 100th episode.
Yeah, this might have been 101.
Yeah, no, this was 99.
Was it?
So here we go.
That's right.
A little bit of Beer Busters trivia, a little behind the curtain. This was the 100th episode we recorded. And our 100th episode was actually the 99th.
Yes.
We recorded our 100th episode the night before this
I
fest.
thought Broken Goblet was the one that we did out of order, but that was the week after, because right after that I went on vacation.
So technically, Wine and Dinosaurs last year was our 100th episode.
Last
time, 3 years ago.
I've been doing that all day, too.
We released it as our 99th and released our 100th after it. So kind of weird. That's how podcast time works.
That is how
interesting trivia.
Yes, and either way, we're excited to be back here. I love it. The museum here is really cool. They have giant dinosaur skeletons. They have all. We're in the mollusk room. Yes, mollusks.
Yeah, there's bivalves in front of me.
Yeah.
There's a thing over there that says, what does it say? Scallops have been delighting the palate of man since ancient times, or something weird like that.
Where do you see that?
It's over in that. You probably can't see it. I can barely see it.
Okay, yep, it's right around the way.
Thing right there, but
and you've got squid and octopus behind you.
Yeah. So it's a really cool spot. Really interesting place to have a beer, wine, food fest. But a really cool place. So like even if you're not coming out to the beer festival, which I assume will be around September next year again, if you're in the area, I mean, it's just a cool museum to visit. And I know they have a bunch of other events. So.
And don't wear shorts.
Don't wear shorts.
If you come to this event. When you come to this event, don't wear shorts.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
We're sitting here recording. Ron is with us. Thank you for doing what you're doing today, Ron. But we're all in, Wayne's wearing jeans. Ron and I are in shorts and T-shirt. But there are people walking by in almost black tie stuff. Like, I mean, that's not black tie, I know. But I saw nice apparel, and I feel like I'm out of place. But you can also, casual. We said this while we were walking around, you can definitely tell the beer people versus the wine people. Because everyone from a brewery, shorts and a T-shirt. Everyone from a winery, dresses, suits, jackets.
And there's good cheese around, too. We can all just come together.
It's the first thing you go to.
From our disparate social classes over our shared love of fermentation.
Do you think the guy across from us is actually a scientist?
I don't know. He's wearing a lab coat.
That makes it official, right?
Anyway, this is a long intro.
It is. Don't forget, out there will be a couple things that we're posting on our social media, at Beer Busters on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook, we are Beer Busters Podcast. Don't forget beerbusterspodcast.com as well, and patreon.com/beerbusters, where you can get access. I got to do Patreon stuff, where you can get access to all the behind-the-scenes stuff that we've going on. Since Steph isn't here, I'm doing all the social media, and it's weird. It's very weird. I don't think I've ever appreciated it as much as right now. But Patreon.com gets you access to Last Call. You get to watch the punishment videos. There won't be one today, unfortunately. We will do a Last Call, but there will be no video since we're not doing a game and nobody's losing anything.
Yeah. But yeah, the punishment videos have been super fun to work on, and I'm really happy with the way they've turned out. So if you're not on Patreon, or if you are and you haven't checked them out yet, give them a look. They're pretty cool. They're a lot of fun.
Yes. Now, as you were about to say.
Yes, so there is a brewery here that unfortunately doesn't have someone with them to come on and represent the brewery on the podcast, so we won't be able to interview them. But we did get some of their beers. We wanted to try them. These are from Maine Beer Company. So they have 3 beers they're pouring today out of very nice bottles. So we grabbed some to sample. We're going to start with the post-ride snack, which is their Session IPA. It's nice.
I'd love to be able to tell that it is.
It's very sessionable.
Did we grab the ABV off of it by any chance?
I didn't see them. I took pictures of the bottle. I didn't see them listed, and they didn't have like a sign out that listed it. But
I got to check these.
I'm sure
now.
it's 4 or 5 somewhere in there. If it's a Session IPA, very nice, very crisp.
It is
not super hazy.
It's a very good way to start the day. I like that.
Yes.
It's light and refreshing because it is super hot outside for some dumb reason.
Yeah, it is very warm out. Very good. I've actually been sipping on this next one as we were setting up and walking back to the table. This is Peeper, which is a straight-up pale ale. No nonsense. I really like this one. I haven't tried the stout yet, but this one is already jostling for a favorite.
The stout is something I've been sipping on since we have been poured.
Yes, Dan was lucky enough. We just kind of told the guy, just pour one of each for us, and we each grabbed one, and Dan serendipitously grabbed the stout, of course.
That's how it works, because there was coffee involved and chocolate, and it's delicious.
But this Peeper is really solid. Like this is just a good drinking beer. It's nice and flavorful, but it's not like it's a kind of beer you can just kind of throw down on a hot day. Really nice. But this stout is intriguing me.
It's really good. I really enjoyed. I think it would be really cool to try on nitro and in a firkin with some other really cool stuff in it.
Yeah, definitely. So this is aged on vanilla beans.
Yeah, it is.
Very nice, very nice. Really enjoying all 3 of these beers. Very good way to start the day. I'm glad that they're not serving any milkshake or hazy IPAs over there. It's always encouraging to see. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to a couple of breweries we had on last time we were here, or here again, but some different people. Also some breweries we haven't had on before, so it should be super exciting. We're going to try and grab somebody, one of the organizers of the fest in some capacity to talk to. But yeah, Wine, Dinosaurs, and Beer.
Yeah.
2019.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Since you're catching the recap of this one, you got to make sure you're out for the next one. This is such a cool event. But without further ado,
#fossils.
Last time we were at this event, we had somebody on from the following brewery, and when we got here, Cal, the guy who got us involved with the event, gave us quite possibly the highest recommendation he could have given for us to get somebody from Argila Brewing on. So we have Steve with us. How are you, man?
I'm all right. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for coming up to the table.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we determined we did have somebody on last time we were here, and it's 3 years since we were. So I'm sure a lot has changed. What's in the world of Argila these days?
Mainly pizza and beer, how it has been. You know, we started canning some stuff on a small scale recently. So we're just trying to get some stuff out in the world a little bit because we're just at the pub mainly. And we've started sending some kegs out a little bit more, getting it in. Delaware Growler Board has been picking up some kegs and getting that out and just trying to see how far things travel when we get them out there.
Awesome. And so we're Philly natives, so we're a little bit outside of our home turf here. Where exactly is Argila located?
We're in Newark. We're not downtown. We're on Kirkwood Highway,
okay,
heading out of Newark towards Wilmington. We're right about where they meet in Meadowwood. Wilmington and Newark meet up right there.
Okay.
The Western YMCA is across the street from us, kind of catty corner. But we're right in there. Brew pub, pizza and beer.
I was going to say, so it's like, and this is all kind of coming back to me. It's been a while, but it's like a pizza shop and a brewery all together.
Right.
And
my dad started the pizza shop.
Okay.
I grew up making pizza I was 6 months old when they opened up, and that's been my whole life doing that. And then I started home brewing. Actually, I read an article about some guys out in Anchorage, Alaska that were doing pizza and beer. I said, that sounds neat. I'd like to do pizza and beer.
Mm-hmm.
And started home brewing, and then I did that for about 8 years before we moved to the location we're in now and put the brewery in. So
cool. I thought you were going to say that you were 6 months old when you made your first pizza.
Wow. Probably close.
Probably close to that. And 2 years old when he brewed his first beer.
Right. Yeah.
So being in a pizza shop, how big of a system do you guys have there?
3-barrel.
3-barrel?
Yep.
Okay, so not huge.
No.
And,
it's very small. Allows us to experiment, which is fun, but it's also, there's the Blonde on Belgian is pretty much the one beer that you're going to find always on tap there. Other than that, it's changing quite often. I think people now, when they come in, are kind of excited to see what's new. That's instead of, it always being the same thing. I think people, if we have stuff on it, they're like, oh, this was the same tap list it was last time.
Yeah,
I'd like to
yeah.
see some new things. So.
Yeah, beer drinkers are very fickle. They always want something new.
Yeah. Well, do you have any flagships then? Like
Yeah,
ones
the
that are
blonde-
definitely
Blonde on Belgian
Blonde,
is the
that's
one that you can
okay.
count on. Yeah,
cool.
And how many beers do you usually have on there?
we have 8.
8? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a pretty
Yeah.
wide variety most of the time.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Awesome.
good range. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, speaking of, why don't we try some of the beers you
Yeah,
brought
let's
with us
do it.
today?
Sure, yeah.
So we have a raspberry goza to
Right.
start with, which is a beautiful red color here. Oh, that's
Ooh.
nice. Nice and tart.
I'm always hit or miss with gozas because I don't like the saltiness that comes with them. This is really good.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Thank
this
you.
is so good.
I like about this. You got it's got the raspberries, got the tart, and it's like when you hear raspberry goza, you kind of know what that's going to taste like.
Right.
There is, this might. Sometimes I say things and I feel like they're going to come out like I'm saying something negative, but I'm not.
Ooh.
There's a brininess in the
Right,
end.
sure, yeah.
That I actually really like. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I'm
Like a
catching it.
brininess.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, like a sea salty.
Yeah, salinity.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, goza it's going to be salty.
Well, right,
but
right.
But
Well, I'm
specifically,
just-
it's
I'm
maybe it's
imagining-
because we're in the mollusk
That could be.
section
That could be.
of the museum. Maybe
Well, I'm
it's
trying to think of what you
psychological.
could use this as a brine for. What could you brine in it?
Well, I know our Mark, our chef that's with us now, he used it quite often to make reductions for different desserts that we've done, things like that. Some pizzas that we've done. We did we had a beer dinner. We try to do these pizza beer dinners where we have, each course a different slice, and we had we made like a cannoli pizza where we did the ricotta with sugar, put some berries on it, and then he made a berry reduction that we put on top and used some of the ghosts in that, and it came out
Wow.
pretty good. So
That sounds pretty
Yeah.
good.
You could do like and granted, I know less about cooking than I do about beer. Could you do like a raspberry vinaigrette, like dressing made out of this reduction?
He's
I
done
can see
that as
that.
well.
All
yeah,
right,
for sure,
all right.
Yeah.
See,
definitely.
it's all coming together.
Right.
It took me long enough to get how this works.
Yeah.
This is really good. I really, really, really like this.
I really like the idea of a freaking cannoli pizza.
Yeah, there's that too.
Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, those are fun to do for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys do like wacky pizzas like that there a lot? Like a lot of like
I mean, our regular everyday is pretty standard,
Right.
kind of stuff. But yeah, we do try. We're trying now to kind of come up with these pizza beer dinners where we're going to do kind of regional styles for each course, like deep dish. There's out in Ohio Valley area, they do cold cheese pizza, which Di Lorenzo's is actually. I think that they're a chain that they're around. You can have them, but there's all kinds of stuff all across, and we kind of want to just start doing that where we lay out. Each course has a regional style
Right.
that goes, and then have a beer paired up with that as well.
that's
So,
cool. That's
yeah.
a neat idea. A beer and pizza dinner.
You see here at breweries that do food doing
Yeah.
their own pairings, but
Unlike beer dinners
yeah,
and stuff,
the
yeah.
places I've come across that were specifically pizza, I've never seen them do that. I like
Yeah.
that. I would
Yeah.
certainly go to that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The first time we did it, actually, but we do a thing called Brewers Pizza Night where we have different breweries from the state come. They create a pizza. We tap their beer and do that. And we did one with Dogfish Head where Sam actually came to the event, and he was the only one that came for that one. And that was the first time. So we were like, well, we don't have a bunch of different pizzas, so we just made up a bunch of different pizzas and paired them with Dogfish Head beers and our beers, and it was a lot of fun. So.
That's really
and
neat.
then we started doing it from there. So.
Yeah. That's
I
cool.
just got that you're wearing a Pizza Planet shirt.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It just clicked. It was like, oh, Toy Story, cool.
Yeah,
oh no,
right.
it's pizza.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah, we were just down and took the kids down to Disney this
Oh,
summer.
cool.
So yeah,
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Well, we have another beer here
We
to try.
do.
So we have a big old triple IPA.
Ooh.
I shudder
Yes.
to ask what the ABV is on this.
It's 9%.
This is like the only the like fourth beer we've sampled so far today, and we're already at 9%. Oh, that is a big one.
It is, but it's got the gravitas, but it's very approachable in it.
Yeah, we try to smooth it out. We got a little bit of spelt in there, some flaked oats, of course, a little bit of malted oats.
Yeah, it gets some like softness
Right.
to it.
Soften
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Sort of cut through that intense hop character you would probably otherwise get.
Yeah. And heavy on the dry hops for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it drinks pretty nice for being so high in alcohol and
Right.
full of what hops are in here?
Citra, Mosaic, and Amarillo.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So all the crowd
The
pleasers.
favorites, right.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
all the best ones.
Right, yeah.
So you guys do a lot of IPAs? Do you do a lot of sours? Is this sort of like representative of?
Yeah, I mean, IPAs are what people want. That's
how you
and
keep the lights on,
Yeah,
yeah.
we do. We've had experimenting with the New England style. We started doing a beer called Clash Stash, which we were numbering them initially, and then we were using different yeast and just experimenting. We finally found one that a recipe we were happy with, And so we started canning that beer up, and people were going for that. And this was born from those experiments. We had a couple other ones that came through from that. And so it rotates, again, like most of them, but you're always going to find a couple IPAs on tap for sure, too.
Very nice, very nice. And I think IPA is a good pairing beer for pizza. Do you guys do lagers? You do any lagering? I know you probably don't have much room for it.
Yeah, no. I mean, we're getting some new equipment coming in about 2 months. It's going to help us to start messing around with that a little bit more. But yeah, now it's about mainly turning stuff around as quickly as we can.
Yeah,
so,
I went with a small facility like that. It's kind of tough to get away with. But man, lager and pizza. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a match made in heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what would you pair with the triple IPA? What pizza? would you-
Pizza wise,
Yeah.
Well, geez, I mean, we have
Buffalo chicken.
Yeah. We could, I mean, something bold and some bold flavors that usually pair well with IPAs, to stand up to the hop character and flavors, things like that. Something spicy, something funky, something blue cheese on there as well could help stand out with that. So, yeah.
Some really good blue cheese at dinner last night.
Yeah.
How far is Newark from here?
Probably not that far, is
Yeah,
it?
no, yeah, you get there about 20 minutes.
It's like Delaware so far away. It's like this weird foreign land. We got here in half hour.
I know. It didn't take us long at all.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it was so nice to meet you.
Yeah,
so
thank
happy
you
to
for
have you
having
on.
me,
You
sure.
came highly recommended and did not
Great.
disappoint. So yeah, we look forward to keeping track. And if we ever start, I mean, we've done podcasts all the way from New York to New Jersey to Delaware. So I mean, if we can possibly get to the brewery one day and do a full episode with you guys, so
That sounds great.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Sure,
I would
sure.
totally be in for that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Two of my favorite things: beer and pizza.
Yes,
That'd
for
be
sure.
nice. All
Cool.
right, man.
Yeah,
All right,
Steve,
guys,
great
so
meeting you.
much.
Thanks for coming up to
Enjoy
the
the
table.
day.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.
So we always make a point to tell people, if they ask, that it's a family affair, us doing the podcast. Obviously, Wayne, you and I are brothers. Steph is our cousin. Steph isn't here right now, so it's a brotherly thing. But we have another set of brothers at the table, which I'm awkwardly excited for because there's already this bond between the four of us. So we've joining us from Autumn Arch Beer Project. Love the name because it doesn't involve the word brewing or brewery. But we have Dan and we have Jimmy. Guys, how are you?
Doing great. Yeah, great. Cool.
Thank you for stepping up to the table.
So first question, where is Autumn Arch?
So Autumn Arch Beer Project is in Newark, Delaware.
Okay.
So we're right on the corner of Pencader Drive and Pleasant Valley Road, about a quarter mile north of Route 40.
Okay.
Awesome. And so second question, why Beer Project and not Brewing Company or Brewery?
So the beer project kind of stems from the more experimental nature that we really wanted to strive for in our brewery. It's we wanted to have beer in the name, and I was like, this really is more of a project. So I wanted to stress that and make sure that was just public knowledge, kind of going into the brewery.
Right. And how long have you guys been around?
So we just opened in April, so about 6 months.
Okay.
So we're brand new.
So it's
Very
a
cool.
fairly fresh project.
That is true.
So what drove you to the madness of opening a brewery?
So Dan and I started homebrewing together about 5 years ago, and it was just like any other hobby that we had gotten into. We really took a deep dive into it, really getting into the science of it and the process. And once you start doing that, it's just kind of natural, I think, for talk about opening the business to come about. And I had always been very interested in entrepreneurship, and after a trip that my wife and I had taken to Asheville, I was like, wow, they just have a great beer scene down here. We need to bring that vibe to the Newark area. So that kind of kicked off the conversation with Dan one epic brew day that we had, and it was kind of like, hey, let's get to work on this and see if we can make it happen.
One fateful brew day. Cool. So you guys brought a couple of beers over. I want to try to start sipping on them. Which one do you think we should dive into first?
I'd probably start with the Hazy IPA or New England IPA.
Okay.
So Mere Tenacity.
Okay.
It's a dragon fruit hazy IPA.
Okay.
So this one, I'd start with this one just because it's a little bit less bitter. It's the Newark State of Mind. We're going to wrap up with that one. That one's more of like a punch in the face, bitter double IPA, strong hop aroma. But the first one, we did a dragon fruit hazy IPA. It came out just neon bright pink. So it was kind of a happy coincidence. We're actually doing a portion of this beer to charity for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which starts in October.
Yes.
So we're going to do the initial release of this beer on Thursday. So it's kind of a light crisp light crisp New England style IPA.
You should just call it a Newark IPA.
Yeah, Newark style IPA.
Yeah, it's tough when you got the Newark State of Mind right behind it.
That's
so
true.
All
That's
the
true. You
words.
can put Newark in all, the names of all your beers. That could be your thing.
We should. But it's a very approachable style. I think it hits a larger portion of the population that doesn't maybe not a fan of IPA because it's just it's low bitterness. It's approachable. It's not kind of punch in the face, kind of like our double IPA will. So it's just a very refreshing IPA.
It's got and I know I've had dragon fruit before, but if you say dragon fruit, I can't like conjure up exactly what
They
that
look
tastes
weird.
like.
They look really weird.
They do look
Honestly,
weird.
I didn't know what a dragon fruit was until about 3 weeks ago. Really? My wife
Like, that's not real.
My wife DZ sent me a picture of so she was at her local produce stand. And she's like, "Hey, check out this thing." It's like it's a dragon fruit. I'm like, "What the hell is that?"
That's not a thing.
So I was like, we should put that into a beer. So she worked with the owner of the Corner Garden in Maryland, and she worked with the owner, sourced about 40 pounds. She sat at the brewery, pureed, all 40 pounds, turned it into about 30 pounds after dehusking. We put it into the beer, and it instantly just turned to just bright pink.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's a super stark magenta pink.
Yeah.
Color. It's not, considering that when you say fruit and considering when you say hazy IPA, it's not super sweet, which I'm actually surprised. I expected it to be sweeter.
I did too, and I'm kind of glad that it's not.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I can pinpoint what a dragon fruit tastes like, but I just figured to be sweet and berry-like kind of deal, especially looking at the color of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And to not have the overwhelming sweetness that I was expecting, I am super happy about it.
You almost expect a sour or a goza or even a milkshakey type thing when you hear the name and you see that, but it's not at all. It's very clean and crisp and refreshing, and it's not super cloudy, pillowy, a lot of those IPAs are, which is the thing I'm not super into.
And I think if you had to box all of our beers into kind of one style, it wouldn't be in a sweet category. We make very, I think for us to make approachable beers, I think we tend towards the more dry and crisp side because it's more approachable, they're more refreshing. I think just that it's more all around pleasing. We do make some sweeter, stouts and things like that. But for the most part, I would say most of our beers are kind of on the drier, crisp side, just because I do think they generally are more approachable.
Did you try any of the dragon fruit, Dan?
I did. I had a slice of it when we were doing.
So what is the raw dragon fruit like?
It's actually it's kind of
Does it taste like fire?
It's more. It's actually not extremely flavorful. It has this insane look, but the flavor is more subtle. It's kind of like a kiwi, so it has some consistency, really mild sweetness, but not. It's not like a punch in the face. So it looks extremely intimidating, but it's really just kind of in the sense of a kiwi.
Right.
I decided I would not eat any dragon fruit unless it was in a beer. So
That's a good thought.
That's how I get all my fruit.
Yeah, pretty much the same here.
So let's move on to the IPA. So this is I love this.
Yeah.
Newark State of Mind. Obviously, Billy Joel reference, I presume, or just to that phrase in general.
It depends who you ask. So we
Okay.
get Billy Joel, we get Frank Sinatra. I come from more of a hip hop genre fan, so it's actually based off Empire State of Mind from Jay-Z. So
I don't even know what that is.
okay, well,
everybody looks like a hip hop guy.
everybody has their
guy.
taste of music, and
That's true.
mine's on the hip hop. realm.
Okay. Well, it's glad that it has broad appeal in its reference in the name.
I used to work in radio, and I worked for a talk radio station at one point, and I'm trying to figure out music to play coming back from commercials, and I landed on that song, and in my head I'm like, oh yeah, Billy Joel's good to come back from a commercial on, and then it goes into that, and I'm like, I screwed this one up.
Yeah, so the Newark State of Mind, it's actually one of our kind of flagship. I mean, we're not much of a flagship brewery, but we do keep two to three beer styles on tap all times, and one of them is Newark State of Mind. So it's a kind of West Coast IPA, so double IPA. We keep high bitterness on this one. It's still a little bit dry and refreshing, kind of has that crispness to it, but it's still a punch in the face double IPA, and that's kind of what we were going for.
This is an IPA I can get behind.
Yeah, we kind of are nostalgic for the days not that long ago when West Coast IPAs were the really cool thing. I mean, the sharper, the more dank, the more piney, the less the less easy IPAs. You know, I feel like these New England and milkshakey IPAs that are popular right now. I mean, and that's why they're popular, because anybody can get into them. But
yeah, the New Englands are definitely more approachable to a larger, I think, portion of people. But you know, I'm in the same fence or same group. I enjoy the West Coast style. The focus is on the hops. You know, dry, crisp. It's all about the hops in that sense, and you have a lot of flexibility with all the varieties of hops out there. You know, you can really put the focus on it, and you can make a similar beer with different hops, and you know, it's a whole array of flavors you can get out of it.
Right? Yeah, definitely. So back to Autumn Arch as an entity. You guys have a tap room. Is it just production? Do you guys do food? What's the vibe like?
Yeah, so we have a tasting room and brewery in Newark, Delaware. So our tasting room is pretty large, about 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
Dan and I, along with our father, constructed all the tables. We built the bar by hand. And then we have the brewery kind of sharing the same space as the tasting room. So it's a pretty neat environment that we wanted to put together. Just as this is a really cool place to hang out. We got these big roll-up garage doors, so when the weather's awesome like it is today, those things are up. We're kind of like, you're inside, but you're also kind of outside. And that's something that...
And you have food trucks, too. I'm
And
seeing
we
on your
have
website.
food trucks.
Sorry, I totally cut you off.
Yeah.
I'm just very
You just
excited.
wanted to get
because-
to the food.
Yeah, of course. Philly style pretzels there today as we're recording this.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
we were just trying that today. So we have a food truck every time that we're open, but today because of all the festivals and things going on, we couldn't get a food truck, but we worked with one of our food truck vendors to get these pretzels made from the spent grain of Newark State of Mind that we brewed earlier this week. So we have pretzels on site today, and we're just giving that a try to see. Let's see what this is like.
Yeah, I
That's a cool idea. I like that. Yeah. Doesn't Trogs do that? Would they put spent grain in
something
with their
along those
pretzels,
lines.
I think? But
What was the name of the dragon fruit one? I'm sorry.
Mere tenacity.
There it was.
Yes.
Thank you.
I wrote that one down, too.
And yet I'm the one using your phone to check these in under the
I don't
Beer
use
Busters
on
account.
tap. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. You check in all the beers. We have a podcast account, so thanks. Oh, we got a badge.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we got Haze for Days level
Of course
15.
we did.
Oh, God, of course we did. Jesus.
Yeah, so one of the things we're working pretty hard on at the brewery, I should say Dan's working pretty hard on this, is getting our nascent sour beer program up and going. So that's sour beer is something that Dan and I really enjoy. And we started doing that as a home brewer. It was one of those things where it was like, all right, we brewed this sour beer. It's going to be nice to try this in 18 months.
Yeah.
So, but that was really important for us. Is like, we want to do sour beer as a brewery. This is something that's just really neat and just different than what a lot of breweries do. But it's also hard to do. And I was like, let's tackle something hard.
Yeah.
So the brewery's filling up with barrels, and we're slowly filling them as we have time between brewing Newark State of Mind and all the other beers that we're doing. But we're doing some really interesting things with our barrel program, and we're pretty excited. We just had our first wild ale, so wild fermentation beer come out about 3 weeks ago, Functification, and we just kicked it yesterday at the Kennett Brew Fest.
Oh, cool.
But we'll probably have another one of those kind of 3 to 4 month turnaround sour beers coming out in the next month and a half. So more on the radar.
Yeah, but we have a pretty good catalog in the pipeline we're trying different range of different sour bugs, and we're trying to build a whole portfolio of like golden sours, dark sours, different fruited sours. So it's going to be a pretty packed tap room in terms of barrelage. So we think we have capacity for about 100 barrels, and it's going to be a pretty large program once it gets up and running.
Cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I love barrels.
cool.
I'm so
Look
happy
forward
to hear that.
Yeah, Dan's a big fan of barrels, whether it's for souring or bourbon aging or whatever.
Typically, the bourbon aging is the way to go, but I appreciate a good sour.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very much looking forward to
He's
you
really
guys
into,
able to do
he's
that.
really into wood.
Yeah, and
Oh.
a couple of batches we have coming up before we turn them into sour barrels, because you really can never go backwards in this. In once you put a sour in a barrel, it's sour forever. So we have a couple things in the pipeline. We have a barrel-aged triple that's starting at a wine barrel. We have we filled 3 wine barrels with a triple, and then we also have a brand new puncheon. So this is our second puncheon that we're adding to our kind of portfolio. We're starting that out with a quad. So we'll have a red wine puncheon barrel-aged quad.
Oh my God.
And that should be ready around Christmas time.
Oh, cool. That sounds really good.
That really does.
Exciting.
We're pretty pumped about that one.
Yeah. Well, cool things to look forward to.
Yeah, very much
it's
so.
great to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Great to hear about Autumn Arch. Wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, sounds like good things coming down the road. Looking forward to
Absolutely.
those sours. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah, and
Okay,
welcome
thanks.
to the beer community.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, this is our first podcast.
Yes.
Nice.
Awesome. Yes.
Yes.
Glad to hear that. Cool.
Well, here's to many more.
All right,
Exactly.
cheers,
Thanks.
guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ed.
This event is a lot of fun. I love it. I seriously love it because we don't get to Delaware very often. We've only been here once
It's true.
before,
Yeah.
and that means we're missing out on a good segment of good breweries, and that, of course, includes Midnight Oil. And we've got TJ with us. How are you, man?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
Doing fantastic.
Doing great.
Yeah. Thanks for coming up to the table with us.
Sure.
I want to say now, when we were getting ready to come to the fest today, of course, Dan and I both tend to put things off to the very, very last minute. So I was going through our old posts. We were here back in 2016, and going through and just trying to line up, people that we had on the show before that were going to be here again, and that sort of thing. And for some reason, Midnight Oil, like when we did Wine and Dinosaurs, that's the one brewery that I remember. Oh yeah, that's when we had Midnight Oil on.
Yeah.
Same here.
And I want to go back and look at it now, just because I don't remember what beers we had then, but something about Midnight Oil made a huge impression on me. And I'm excited to try what you said you brought with you today. But I just want to look real quick and see what we had. I just got to find it. Oh man!
You could also consult that app that I've been using on your phone all day.
Oh yeah, Untapped. I don't do that.
I'm reasonably sure that Serenity was actually one of them.
That sounds
Probably because I
familiar.
feel like I made a Seinfeld joke.
Here we go. Yes, Serenity. Yep. And Sundown Saison. It was a Saison. I love
Yeah,
Saison.
I almost brought that today.
Wow.
actually.
And Serenity's only 3.5%. Still the case?
No,
or has
we bumped that up
changed?
a bit. It's
Okay.
about 5 now.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, cool. Anyway, that tangent aside, how are things at Midnight Oil?
Wonderful. We are almost done year 2. Yes. Year 3 will be coming up in February, and trucking along, starting to distribute.
Awesome.
Should be going into Maryland pretty soon as well.
Cool. So yeah, when we were here before, you weren't yet open. You guys
Correct.
were just doing
That's right.
fests to get the
Yeah.
name out and that sort of thing. That's right. I remember this now. Cool. So, did you guys? I don't remember if you had a location then or not, but where are you guys actually?
We are
located?
in Glasgow.
Okay.
Newark, either way you want to put
Okay.
it. In Pencader Business Park, down
Okay.
896 and 40, about 4 miles south of UD.
Okay, I'm not super familiar with Delaware in general or the beer scene. Is Newark a lot of? We've been hearing a lot of Newark when it comes to where breweries are. Is that
Yes.
sort of a
Well, yes, and yeah. So a lot of us are generally. There's a lot of us in the area. A lot of good craft beer places in the area.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So Newark is the Delaware.
I was going to say that's
Asheville.
like a destination if there's that many
Yes.
good breweries that are there.
That's
yes,
cool.
and
That's cool.
not just that, but there's a lot of other breweries just outside of Newark that are all pretty close by. so-
Awesome.
So I know we had Serenity last time, but it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
And when you told me about this when you first sat down, I was so excited to try it. So this is a rye blonde ale with peaches and chamomile.
Correct.
That's really nice.
Wow.
That's really nice. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I remember exactly what it tasted like 3 years ago.
Right.
But I know you mentioned that the ABV has crept up a little bit.
Yes.
What other tweaks have you made to this one?
There's been a lot of little ones since the last time you had it. I couldn't possibly keep track of them all.
Right, yeah. But it's been evolving pretty steadily.
Yes. Yeah, we've been dialing it in and tweaking it and correcting things here and there over time.
So if this is still around, I assume you would consider this one of your flagships?
Yes.
And this is a year-round?
We try to keep it year-round. Sometimes it's hard to get the fresh ingredients that we use in it.
Yeah.
So it's more of a seasonal beer, but we try to have it as often as we can.
Very cool. And this is one of your more popular?
Yes.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine. Very cool.
It's delicious. I love it. It's
Yeah.
oh god, it's so layered and complex. And even after you think you're done getting flavors out of it, there's still like an extra little punch at the very very back end.
As it warms up, some changes happen too.
Oh, yeah?
You're gonna let it
Okay.
sit
Yeah.
for a little
Yeah,
bit.
well,
then?
I actually poured art samples out of these larger cups here, so we're just going to have to leave this one sit for a little bit, and we'll come back and try it and see what it's like when it warms up. But I love that it has like the fruitiness up front, and you get sort of a Belgian-y character up front, and with the peaches, and then it sort of dries out with the rye and the chamomile at the end, sort of comes in and cleans it up. A lot going on. I love a beer that like has like a. It always sounds pretentious to say, but like the sip is a journey. Like it starts one
Yes.
way and then it ends another each sip. Very, very nice beer. I'm glad I got to have
leaves
it.
you wanting more.
Exactly.
Very much so. Yeah. So if you're going on the third year, What's the exciting stuff that you have coming up for year 3 then?
We are planning some renovations to spruce some things up. We are looking at getting a whole brand new draft system, expanding our supply of beers, our variety of beers that are on tap more regularly, and a lot of distribution happening, and canning coming up.
Oh, cool. That's fun. Are you going to do mobile canning, or are you getting your own canning
first?
line?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah, we're mobile canning at first. We don't want to jump right in with our own canning line without knowing what we're doing first. We'll break everything, and that's not good. So we want to find out how to do it first.
To break something, it might as well be someone else's.
Exactly.
Now, are you going to send those out in distribution, or is that going to be pick up at the tap room only?
We're going to start in the tap room, and then as quickly as we can get them out to market.
Very cool. Does that market include Philly? That's a very important question.
Not immediately.
Okay.
I mean, hey, I'm not going to put it off the table, but right now our immediate plans are continuing in Delaware and then moving sideways a little bit into Maryland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Philly's better than Maryland, man. Expand north now.
Yeah, but Philly's a pretty competitive market.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
There's
It really
a lot
is.
of noise to get in front of in
Well,
Philly.
it also gives me a reason to go to Newark then.
That's true.
And we're so close to Maryland where we are. We got a lot of Maryland customers, so it kind of makes sense to start pushing it to there as well.
Yeah, definitely cool. So speaking of the tap room, what is the vibe at Midnight Oil like? Do you guys do food? Is it just a tasting room? Do you food trucks?
We've got it's 1,700 square foot tasting room.
Okay.
We've got video games. We've got tabletop games. It's a pretty relaxed, pretty chill. We want everyone to kind of feel almost like they're just in someone's really cool finished basement.
Nice. Yeah.
Just everyone hanging out, family, drinking, having a good time.
Right.
We have food trucks outside. We have beer garden set up out there on Friday evenings and Saturdays. We've got some other events coming up that we're planning on, like brunches and pop-up kitchens and things like that.
That's cool. It's really cool that we've come after a 3-year hiatus. We were here and we talked to you guys when you were just planning to open, and here you are, and you're still around.
Yes, we are,
and you're still going strong, and you still have things coming down the pike. So I mean, things are starting to get a little cutthroat out there. I feel
That's
like
true.
Yeah.
7,500
a million breweries opening every other day. So it's awesome to see that that you guys are still keeping the dream alive.
Yes,
so that's cool. Speaking of dreams,
is that how you go into a beer called Paradox?
Yep.
All right.
It's an odd transition, but I'll allow it.
When you don't have a good segue, you just say, speaking of whatever the last thing you said was.
And then you make it more awkward. So what is Paradox?
It is a heavyweight Belgian IPA brewed with Hallertau Blanc hops.
Oh.
Is it weird to say I get peanut butter? Maybe
well, now I do.
Like, I don't know if it's coming off of the...
I was going to say it might be coming off of the
like,
Serenity.
There might be a weird interaction going on, but the first thing for some reason I just got peanut butter. Like those peanut butter crackers?
Yeah, no, I know where you're going with it.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just wasn't expecting it.
There's definitely a pretty heavy malt character to it.
You definitely get the Belgian aspect of it, and the hoppiness is a very good compliment to it. Oh.
You don't see a lot of Belgian IPAs.
No, and you should.
They're one of my favorites.
It's so good.
It's kind of obscure.
I forgot about them.
I remember there was a bottle shop. Oh, this is years ago. I don't even remember what it was called. But they had this really cool... it was almost like when you go into like a cigar store, and they have like the humidor room, with the glass door. They had a room like that, but it was all like really like obscure import beers and there was... I can't even remember the name of it. This is why I should use Untapped, but I don't. But it was a Belgian IPA, and this one was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was such an obscure, weird thing, and I can't even remember what it's called, but it was so good and so interesting. It sort of takes me back to that. Such a neat style.
Yeah, Belgian IPAs are how I got into IPAs to begin with. I used to hate IPAs, and then someone introduced me to Belgian IPAs, and that opened that door, and then I never looked back.
Yeah. So do you guys do? I mean, these are two very unique beers. Are you guys real into doing like? I mean, I assume you have just like a straight up IPA and
yeah, we've got our standard IPA that we want to bring out to market that we think will appeal to most people, but it's the stuff we keep in the tasting room is the stuff that's special and unique and fun. Barrel-aged things and coffee stouts and all kinds of different...
That sounds super.
That makes me happy. So if you have the IPAs and all, have you jumped on board the New England IPA train?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
Some hazy IPAs, some juicy IPAs. We're more known for dark beers and some fruit beers using actual fruit,
right?
But we're getting into the we're having some fun experimenting with it.
Yeah.
You could not have said a better thing to me. Dark beers and fruit beers.
Dark beers and fruit beers. That's Dan's Tinder profile.
Yeah, speaking of
Tinder,
we have a dark beer series that we because we partnered. We work with United Cocoa Processing.
Okay,
and they're a processing plant right across the street from us, and they do a chocolate pairing. So they bring in chocolate from different parts of the world, and they pair it with different ones of our dark beers, and that's coming up in February, I believe.
Oh, that's exciting. We do.
I could be wrong about the date, but I think that's when it is.
Yeah,
we do every year for the past 6 years since we started the podcast. Really, there's a guy we know. His name's Greg Orth, and he has a company called Craft Tastings, and he used to work for Hershey. And he's really into beer. So he started this company doing event tastings with like chocolate and beer pairings. And so as soon as you brought that up, it made me think of that. We do around Valentine's Day every year. We do a whole episode with him where we do beer pairings and stuff.
That's awesome.
I still go back to the original episode when we first had him on. I still, to this day, am telling people about if you have you ever had Mad Elf from Trogs?
Yes.
If you have that, get some Hershey's Special Dark Chocolate.
Yes.
Take a bite of the chocolate, let it melt in your mouth a little bit, switch it around before you swallow, and take a swig of the beer. It's like a cherry cordial. It's so
Really?
good.
It's a really good combo.
His thing is 1 + 1 = 3, and that's the epitome of it.
Yeah.
I already have the Special Dark at home. I might have to get some Mad
Oh,
Elf.
Yeah.
darn, you got to get Mad Elf.
Well, season's coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, we're getting there. But that's cool. That's I love to see beer pairings that aren't just like beer dinners.
Right.
It's like a course in a beer where it's like a specific thing in a specific beer. And
Yeah, to try and bring out some of those flavors
yeah.
in the beer. Yep.
And to make something extra, that 3, that 1 + 1 =
Yes.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. So we touched on hazy IPAs, and it's really refreshing to hear you say that you're known for other things, because I feel like all new breweries now, that's like the one thing they're staking everything on. So
Yes.
it's cool that you already kind of have a following or a reputation of something else that you do really well.
Yes.
So that's really cool
Yeah.
to see.
We don't want to put all our eggs into that one basket.
I feel like,
Yeah.
and I definitely feel like that's a mistake. But I also feel like if you're, I mean, and you guys have been around for a while now, but if like, people who are opening a brewery right now, I feel like you kind of have to.
Yeah, you don't want to go
Maybe.
against the grain,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be sort of a one-trick pony either.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned barrels earlier.
Yes.
I have to ask, because I love barrels, what is in the barrels?
Well, we actually have some sours that are happening. That's going to be a while, though. One of the ones that are more immediate is Dark Matter, bourbon barrel-aged Dark Matter. Dark Matter is our Russian Imperial Stout. Yeah.
When is that happening? When can I get
don't
that?
know when that's being pulled. I'm really not sure, unfortunately.
All right.
But yeah,
I will.
It's,
I'm assuming you'll put shout outs on your social media and
absolutely.
such. Okay, I'll have to keep an eye on that.
How do I search the beers that we've had on tap?
Are you looking for styles, names?
No, I'm looking for Dark Matter because I feel like we've had that
Oh, there
on
you
the
go.
show. It sounds so familiar.
Trying to think of
No.
I don't know if but in Untapped you should be able to either just search our brewery and then look at the beer list there, or search Dark Matter.
Staff help.
Yeah, Dark Matter. As soon as you said that name, I was like, I know I've had that beer. Sundown, Saison, and Serenity are the only thing that are coming up.
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway, maybe we had it off air, so we didn't check it in. But I definitely feel like I've had that beer.
Are you allowed to say whose bourbon you're using?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Actually.
All right. Not that it'll make or break. I'm going to buy it anyway. I'm curious. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I've done beer for 6.5 years, and I've been getting into whiskey, and I have 4 bottles of whiskey at home right now. And I almost bought a 5th one yesterday. I almost bought a 5th and a 6th yesterday.
They were good, though. Well, the one I tried was good.
Oh, wait, no. 7. I almost bought 3 yesterday.
Jeez.
I have a problem.
Yeah,
Maybe this
apparently.
is where I need to admit it.
Yeah, apparently.
It's first step.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, TJ, thank you for coming up to the table with us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, super cool to see you guys are doing well, and like Wayne said, keeping the dream alive. And hopefully, at some point, we can branch into Delaware for episodes proper and come down to Midnight Oil.
Heck yeah. Shoot. Host a show from our tasting room.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that'd be great.
Absolutely. I would love to do that.
Yeah, because everything we've had is, oh my god, this Serenity is good, the Paradox is good. I'm super in on what's coming out of the barrels. Oh god, I can't wait to see what you guys have in store. This is awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Best of luck out there at the fest.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Before we started recording. We were walking around when myself and Ron were walking around trying to introduce ourselves to the breweries that are here and the representatives that are here from them. And I was a little embarrassed in front of the next one because I had a pretty bad social media fail that the internet will not see, but I couldn't figure out how to do something as I'm standing there trying to take pictures. So there's two people at the stand from Belafonte Brewing, one of which we have here is Rob. First off, how are you, Rob?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for coming up to the table.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of
were
course.
were you silently judging him when he failed at his social media attempt?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at taking photos myself.
I was really hoping that knot wasn't going to be in
I'm
there.
standing there. I'm trying to do like a super zoom to make it a cool thing for our Instagram.
Frickin' Instagram.
And I try to zoom in, and you were standing next to. I'm sorry, what was her name? That's with
Shauna.
Me? Shauna. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
she's one
standing
of our
next to her,
bartenders.
and you both are standing there, and you're very patiently smiling for the picture to happen, and just kept zooming in between the two of you, and I couldn't get it to not do that, no matter how much I tried, because the super zoom does its own thing. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to take a picture of the sign, and I'll come back and do a proper picture. So I owe you a proper Instagram story after the interview.
I will hold you to that.
All
sir.
right, cool. There we go.
No super zoom needed.
Yeah, exactly. This will just be regular. But Belafonte, are you in Delaware?
Yes, we are. We're located in Marshallton, near Price's Corner, which is a little bit south of the proper city of Wilmington. Bellefonte is actually a neighborhood in North Wilmington near Claymont, and that's where we're named after. But
Okay.
we were not able to find an industrial premise there to open a brewery 3 years ago when we opened. So
I apologize. It's Belafonte, not Belafonte.
it's Bellefonte. Yes.
Bellefonte.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
It happen-
Man.
everybody does that.
Is this you guys named after Harry Belafonte?
That's where I got the. Yeah,
we are not. No.
So it's like it's the thing that rings and also typeface.
And then actually,
Bellefonte.
you guys are from Pennsylvania, so you guys are familiar with Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, which is up by State College.
I should be familiar with that, but I'm not.
I mean, not
Sorry.
super, but the name rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get out that way very often, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're from Philly, so Central PA might as well be like on the other side of the Atlantic.
Okay. I gotcha. Yes.
That is true. That is true. So how long has Belafonte been around?
We opened in May of 2016,
Okay.
so we've just about 3.5 years now, and we're getting ready to open our second location
cool.
in
Exciting.
North Wilmington, hopefully in about another 6 or 8 weeks, off Marsh Road. So it's going to be near Delaware County, near Claymont, a little closer to our namesake.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I know in Pennsylvania there were some changes in the laws over the past couple of years that allowed a lot of breweries to open satellite locations and tap rooms and things like that. Is there any kind of licensing headache involved with that in Delaware? Or can you just kind of say, I'm going to open another location?
So up until 2018, to be an alcohol producer, you had to be zoned industrial. You had to be an industrially zoned location. So we are in an industrial park, and the law changed to allow us to be in any commercially zoned location without opening a restaurant.
Okay.
So now we're going into a commercial strip mall and not having to open a restaurant. So we still have to produce beer there.
So I was going to say you do actually.
We
have
are
to
going
do
to have a production space there,
Okay.
but we're going to have about 4,000 square feet of tap room space. So
Okay,
it's going to
cool.
be much larger than our current location.
Wow. And so that'll be the same license as the original
Yeah, so
brewery?
we have a tap room license and a retail license.
Oh, okay.
So we're allowed to sell full pours, tasters, growlers, and crowlers to go. We do have some limited cans. I brought another beer for us to try here. This is one of our can releases.
I didn't even see that. It was behind the sign. Oh, that's exciting. Cool.
So if you're going to have the brewing equipment there, do you plan on brewing the same stuff, or will you have different location-specific offerings?
There will be the opportunity for the brewer there to exhibit his own style and his own recipes. Awesome. We are planning on having maybe about 10 taps at this new location. We have 16 at our main location. And we have about 5 or 6 that are steady rotation. They're on all the time, and the rest are seasonals or come on as one goes away. Because we've had probably 150 different recipes over the 3 years.
Wow!
But as I said, we have 16 taps, and we have 2 nitro taps. So we try and have a porter or a stout on all the time. Sometimes throw an IPA on one of the nitros to do something a little different. We have 2 taps dedicated to sours. So we have a Gosa series and a Tart Saison series. The Gosa is one can release that I brought here to chase with you guys.
Awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, this beer that I brought here is the Lighten Up Francis. This is our extra pale ale. Not quite as hop forward as an IPA, but nice light character, light body, as Cascade and Chinook hops.
Ooh. There's a flavor I can't put my fingers on. finger on. Or words.
There's a juiciness, but
There's
but it's like it's very malty as well.
Yeah,
it's got like,
but like it gets a different flavor reaction that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I imagine that's going to be from the Chinook, but probably like a little bit of a juicy hop flavor as opposed to a piney or a citrus note.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So did I see too on your sign that's over there that it's gluten reduced?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, these two beers, the Lighten Up Francis is a gluten reduced beer. Yes.
Okay. What was the impetus behind that?
So one of a close friend of the brewer and a close friend of the brewery, she's been a real brand ambassador, has celiac disease, and White Labs makes an additive called Clear Firm, which reduces gluten to less than 10 parts per million. So we can't call it gluten-free without paying for third-party testing. But we have about 5 or 6 beers on at the brewery at any one time that are gluten-reduced.
Oh, that's great.
So not our full offering.
Right.
But some, yeah. And do you guys... is it? It's just. I know there are places that are like they really try to not have the equipment like touch anything that's gluten related, or like it's a really strict, like very sterile sort of from beginning to end. Does that clarification process kind of take away the need to be that worried before it gets there?
Because it works on the actual gluten protein in barley,
right?
And it works during the fermentation process.
Okay,
it's not necessary to sanitize the equipment in a special way,
right?
Because we're still making a beer with barley.
Right,
the gluten is still there.
That.
It's just been reduced to. It's been broken down to a point where it's not detectable anymore.
Right.
For people who have a sensitivity like that.
Right.
Years ago, I wrote an article about gluten-free and gluten-reduced beer. At the time, I had a girlfriend who was celiac, also her and her sister, and I wanted to include her in the beer that we were able to drink. So I wanted to find stuff, and I became really intrigued by it because I knew gluten was always this thing that was there with protein that didn't really process right in the people that had celiac, and then I found out about the Clarity Firm. That's right. Yeah. And it's really cool how it works. It was originally intended to combat chill haze, but one of the secondary benefits of it was it just so happened to do this. That was not their intent in the first place.
Yeah, because the chill haze that's in beer is just the protein sort of being
I guess that makes
clumping
sense.
together.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that makes sense then.
So since I always imagine it like freaking like Galaga, like it's shooting the gluten and it's breaking into pieces so that it's not really gluten anymore.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it works.
Yeah,
sort of. That makes sense, right?
On a molecular level.
Yeah, on a molecular Galaga.
So do you what other gluten reduced offerings do you have then? What kind of styles?
So we have the extra pale ale. We have our Kolsch, which is a German lager style brewed as an ale.
Yeah.
What else do we have right now? I am blanking on some of the other ones we have right now, but those are like two of our mainstays that we have on all the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't think I've ever had a gluten reduced Kolsch. That sounds cool.
We had there's a brewery out in Colorado called Holidaily.
Oh yeah.
That we did a phone interview with
but they're all
the
gluten free.
So what they do is they use actually like grains that don't have gluten to begin with, like millet, and,
buckwheat,
and all that stuff.
Sorghum is another popular
which
one.
Is super difficult to make good beer out of that kind of stuff. They do a pretty good job. They've done a lot of their homework to get to that point.
Yeah.
But they did a Kolsch that was I think it was a Kolsch that we had. I think we had a Kolsch on the show. It was really good. Yeah, so just because you can't do gluten doesn't mean there's not beer options out there, and good ones too.
That's true.
Yeah,
that Clarity Firm does not work on wheat, so you can't take a wheat beer and make it gluten reduced. But
yeah,
cool.
No,
cool.
It makes it much more accessible to people, and when people find out about it, even if they don't have celiacs, but they have some kind of sensitivity to gluten, which a lot more people have it than realize it sometimes. So.
It's a very underserved part of the population too, especially the beer drinking population. Somebody might develop the intolerance as time goes on.
It's cool. Well, it is one of those things where you think like if suddenly like you're told by a doctor or someone like, oh, you have to cut out gluten, the first thing I would think is, I can't drink beer anymore.
Yeah, beer and bread.
Beer and bread? What am I going to do? Bread I could, all right, maybe, but I can't have beer anymore?
Pizza, pasta.
Yeah,
no.
Just stop right there.
Okay, there's a pizza place, right? Wolf Street Pizza. They do, they have a gluten-free pie that you can get.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. All right, so I'm excited for a can. You're the first person to bring up a can
That's true,
today,
you are.
So that you get points for that.
Into the mic. He knows how it works. And I'm sorry, what kind did you say this was?
This is a key lime pie gosa.
Oh.
So we've got some vanilla, we've got some cinnamon, the key lime flavor as well.
Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
This aroma.
Oh, that smells really nice.
Well, I have to say, came from Ken. We should cheers.
Cheers.
Prost.
Prost. Ron's got to try it
Ron
too.
deserves some.
Well, that was quite carved up. It's good stuff, though.
Ooh, it's a lot of flavor coming through.
The lime and the salt really comes out.
It really does. We had somebody on earlier that had a goza as well, and I find myself normally hit or miss on gozas because the saltiness sometimes gets me, but this is so good. Oh, it's great. And there's a cat on the can.
That's right. So we call it, that's our six toes gosa, key lime pie gosa, and we were thinking of the commonness in feral cats to have polydactyly, and so and because it's key lime, we were thinking of a Key West theme. There's a lot of feral cats in Key West. It's just the Hemingway house. There's like 20 some cats that just wander around the property. So yeah,
It's a polydactyly and feral cats. Very strange inspirations, but I like it.
yeah. Well, and of course that's the meme there. That's Lime Cat. So you
Oh, Lime Cat. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I know Lime Cat.
No, I've seen Lime Cat.
Google that. Google it.
I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very tasty beer. I quite like it.
Yeah, and I have to give props to our graphic designer, the local business owner called Sarah DeFlavis. Sassafras Studio is her business, and she's been doing all of our graphic design and social media work for a few months now.
Random aside, like 10, 15 years ago, I knew a guy who was trying to open a recording studio, and he wanted me to design a logo for him, and he was going to call it Sassafras Studios. Never happened.
Missed the boat on that one.
Yeah.
There's probably more than one Sassafras Studios.
I'm sure there's more.
But the one in Delaware.
That one specifically. Dan is now looking at Lime Cat.
I'm captivated by this.
Yeah, he's sucked in.
Well, the internet and cats. I mean, how can you go wrong?
It's true. Well, with this one of the things that came up was Lyme disease in cats, and then that got depressing.
That's not good.
No, it's not. But Lyme Cat looks fun. Do you do any other like pie-inspired beers?
No, this was actually
internet-inspired beers?
Internet-inspired, yes. They're all, naming beers is one of the hardest things to do anymore because there are, 4,200 of us trying to chase all that same market share and also trying to come up with something unique. We have a couple of good names that have not been taken completely by other people on the internet, but no other key lime or meme ones. But we have an Easy Session IPA. Session New England IPA. We have Oat Face Killa.
I like it.
Yeah, it's quite tasty. And we were not the first. We were I think we're the only ones to have Oat Face in Delaware anyway. There are, if you go on tap, there's quite a few Oat Face Killas out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Goat Face. Everybody knows Goat Face Killer. Goat Face. Ghost. There should be a Goat Face. There should be a Goat Face Killer. Oh man, totally. Oh, speaking of names, I wanted to ask you, where did Lighten Up Francis come from?
From Stripes. From the movie Stripes.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Right,
usually if it's a movie reference I don't get, Dan knows it.
Yeah, so there's actually a scene in the movie where the one guy's going on about how he's gonna kill the drill sergeant or whatever, or you touch my stuff again, I'm gonna kill you. And the drill sergeant looks at him and is like, lighten up, Francis.
Okay. Are you familiar with Evil Genius in Philly?
I am.
Okay, they do a lot of movie quote.
Yeah, they're killing it on the beer names.
yeah, definitely. We met the guys the founders of that when we first started the podcast, right when they were first starting out. They were like one of the first beer professionals that came on our show. So we love just following them and how successful they've been. But their names are just something else.
Yeah. It's really hard to come up with unique stuff. It's just it's a constant battle. And you go on Untappd and just say, hey, all right, so is anyone else using this name that I thought I came up with myself?
Oh yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah.
And as long as if they're on the other side of the country and they're not putting it in a can, maybe we'll be okay with it anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Well, in regular podcast episodes, we do a trivia game segment that Wayne will do, and it's more often than not libation fabrication, which is this a real beer or did
Is it a
I make
fake
it up.
name?
Yeah.
And so coming up with fake funny names for beer. I'm like, oh, that's a really funny name for a beer. I'm going to put that in the game. And then I Google it and like, oh no, it's actually a real beer.
So trivia from our first year of being open was we actually did receive a cease and desist from Dogfish Head over our pumpkin beer that we had that year, and they're like, you know what, guys, look, you're young, you're just getting into this, but we've been calling it pumpkin ale for a couple of years now, so I think you need to just don't do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah. I guess in Delaware too. I mean, they are
a very polite cease and desist.
Thanks for the warning, Mr. Calgione.
Well, we said before that getting a C&D is sort of like a rite of passage for any brewery.
That's true. Yeah, you were noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yep. By the biggest player in the state. So
Yeah.
we're like, okay, great, cool, thanks.
Okay.
At the time when we were the smallest player in the state.
David and Goliath.
Yeah. So I have to ask, your shirt, and I only noticed as you were sitting down, I swear I'll be home by 8. Where did that come from?
So this, the character on the shirt is our CEO, Neil. And I believe you guys interviewed him at the time when you guys were here 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I have that in my notes.
This is what he says to his girlfriend. Honey, I swear I'll be home by 8.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
and this
awesome.
is supposed to be him, yeah. So
It does look like him. I remember the picture too. Neil Shea.
That's correct.
Yep. Nice. So cool.
Awesome.
Well, this Goza is incredible.
It really is.
Thanks for bringing a can.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you guys enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming up to the table in the first place. Thank you for bringing the can with. And I'm excited to see what's coming up for Bellefonte.
Yeah.
It's you guys had, so you said 6 to 8 weeks-ish for the...
Yeah, we're hoping. We're just waiting on the landlord to just finish up the last couple of things for the fit out, and we'll go in and slap some paint on the walls, build a bar, and put a cold box in. But yeah, we're building a brand new brewing system. We're really excited about this second location opening.
So cool.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to see what you guys have coming down the line. It's awesome, and it's a pleasure to meet you, and hopefully great things are in store.
Excellent.
Cool.
Thank you guys very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Cheers.
One of my favorite things about doing any festival is getting to talk to people we hadn't talked to before. I especially like it at this one because we don't get to Delaware very often, which needs to change, to be quite honest. But somebody that was not here 3 years ago was Wilmington Brewworks, and we got Keith. Keith, how are you?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, of course. Thanks for coming up here.
Keith comes with a lot of letters in his title. the CFO, the COO, and the COO too. The second COO means co-owner.
That is correct. I also clean floors too. Just so you know, there's a lot of that goes on.
Yeah, we've
fair.
had our hand in collaboration brews with some breweries in Pennsylvania, and I tend to squeegee.
Yeah, that's what Dan does. Whenever we go to a brewery and brew beer, Dan squeegees. He does squeegees the floor.
I don't trust myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
I'll clean up. That's
Exactly. Hey, I've got stories about bad incidents in breweries for sure.
Well, now I'm
Yeah.
intrigued.
Yeah.
Oh, just stupid things that people can do, that sort of thing.
Okay, all right.
In the very beginning, you got to be careful what clamp you pull off of things.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It was me. It was me, and that was probably the moment I said, you know what? I'm just going to stick to the operations and the finance, and I'll come in and I'll give you, I'll tell you how this tastes.
Right.
I'll do that part of it.
I'll count the money and give you an opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go. Accounting and critique.
Yes.
Now, before we started recording, you said that Wilmington Brewworks, you are about 14 months in as of recording. So, okay. So what led to opening?
Oh
the
wow!
place?
Like about a million things. We got a great site down in Wilmington. It was an old. It was a brown site that was redeveloped, and it has. It was a 100-year-old building. DuPont's kind of built it. They had Delaware Chemical Engineering Company was in there. Atlas Gunpowder, and then an electroplating place. So it was a brown site. It sat vacant for about 20 years.
Wow.
And they almost tore the entire thing down, but the community kind of stopped it. They were going to put self-storage in there, and they stopped it from happening. So we kind of came in about 2 years ago, and our part of it, they had to tear out most of the soil in the place, 2 to 6 feet, and then we came in and we built a brewery around it. So it's a great one of those great stories. You can see all those really cool places that you go to all over the country, and this is another one of those where they've taken an old building and repurposed it into something, and the type of usage kind of works even for a brown site. So we got a giant beer, German sort of styled beer hall inside of a building that looks like a Spanish colonial.
Oh, wow.
It's got the terracotta roof, and it's very, very interesting architecture. It's real long. It's been speculated that they used to do ballistics testing in there.
Oh wow!
Because it's a really long building.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a pretty cool site that we have there.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool.
In North Wilmington.
That's awesome. I think my only, at least recent experience with Wilmington was I went to a show at the Queen last year. Which was a really cool venue.
Yeah, it's cool.
So that's like my only point of reference for the entire city
who'd you
of Wilmington.
WBW is awesome.
Nice.
That's one of our newest fans.
Yeah.
They were just over here talking to us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I saw
They're regulars at our place, too.
Oh, that's
cool.
great. They seem like very nice people.
Yeah.
We were talking to them for a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw a Philly band called the Menzingers.
Oh, okay.
Which Wayne and I are actually huge fans of at this
love
point.
the Menzingers.
And I'm hoping that I can get tickets through my station for the show in November.
I'm ashamed to admit that my girlfriend recently saw Hanson in Wilmington.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my
you know
gosh.
what? I bet they probably put on a good show.
What was that?
I'm sure
what
they
was
do.
that
They
place
do.
that just closed up in? Was it the Troc? Or
Philomoka.
Philomoka.
It's a whole weird thing, and I didn't know about it until it was too late. But a lot of their shows got rescheduled to go to Boot and Saddle, which is
okay.
I like Boot and Saddle. I've seen a couple of shows there. I like Philomoka better, but Boot and Saddle has air conditioning, which is very important.
Yeah, that's
Philomoka doesn't because it's a mausoleum.
Yeah,
that's what it started off as.
Oh, I see.
Interesting. Oh, we talk about repurposed buildings.
Exactly.
we go.
Yeah.
All around. Yeah. So I want to know, and we asked this of the autumn. I already forgot.
Autumn Arch.
Yeah. That's what it was. Autumn Arch Beer Project. Brewworks. You're not brewing company. You're not brewery. You're not beer company. Was that a?
Well, because a lot of the things that we do, we're looking to use the works to kind of attach to it. So, we are not just a brewery; we're also a cidery. So we're licensed to do both.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we have Orchard Works, which is our,
right.
and we have other plans for other things. Like when we do yoga, we call it Yoga Works. So we kind of are using that as sort of a branding sort of image that we can kind of attach to all the things that we do there.
So everything works. Just insert blank works.
We work a lot. I can tell you that. So,
a lot of works at the works.
A lot of works.
Was that the original plan from the beginning? Was to do other things besides beer?
Oh, absolutely. Cool. Actually, I can tell you if you guys know a lot about the licensing process and building out process. One of the reasons why we're a cidery because we had time to do other stuff, and so one of the things Craig is great about is following through all those hoops that you got to do to get the licensing and stuff like that. So if you give him time, he's going to go find something to do with that time.
Right.
And that's how we ended up, adding cider to it, which is great because we have some craft ciders, we have some craft beer. It's just a really good kismet to kind of hit a lot of markets with that.
Definitely. So. Do you guys do food at your place?
So the other cool thing about our place is we relied on food trucks for a long time, and we still have food trucks that come out, but we have a really cool pizza place that's co-located on the same property.
Oh, cool! And
they do a wood oven type stuff, so it's not like Domino's. It's like that. I mean, the thing that I kind of look at it because I don't know if you guys have ever been out to Pliny in Santa Rosa.
No.
So they have a cool place in Santa Rosa. They actually make the same styled pizza that they sell with their beer. They do it as more of a brew pub. We're the first production brewery in Wilmington since the 1950s. The other ones, Stitch House and Iron Hill are brew pubs. We're a production brewery, and we're the first one since Diamond State closed over 50 years ago. So.
Yeah, definitely.
So we do have food via a separate business that's on the same property.
Do they make a cannoli pizza?
I don't. They make cannolis, but I think cannoli pizza.
No, we had from. I gotta go back to my notes.
Argila. Yeah,
we know those guys.
He was on and talking about cannoli pizza. They made a raspberry reduction with their goza. He was talking about using it in cooking.
Really?
And then they put it on the cannoli pizza, and I was like, that sounds really pretty good.
A cannoli calzone, I think it was. At
cannoli.
St. Boniface.
I mean, that's really just a giant cannoli, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know that qualifies as a pizza anymore. It's just
Yeah,
a
no,
cannoli.
I mean, I mean, if it's a cannoli calzone, it's just a big cannoli.
More or less. I love cannoli. I love it.
So
good.
let's taste some of these
Yes,
beers. I'm
because
really
absolutely.
excited.
Yeah, you told us what these were before we started recording.
So we have the obligatory New England IPA,
but with a very cool twist
but it's
on
a
it.
rye New England
Yes.
IPA, which I am intrigued.
I also like the name Teutonic Metaphysics.
Yeah, so it's
So what the heck does that mean?
Well, it's a German roots sort of thing. The Teutonic is
Okay.
German. So, and the real key there is it's dry hopped with Mandrina Bavaria and Hull Melon, which are classic German style hops, and it's not Cascade or Amarillo or perfectly honest, I love Mosaic and Citra. So those are where, but this is a really cool take. So it's going to have a very dry, almost like a black tea.
Yeah.
Like so it's different. So it's hazy. So people see the hazy, but it's very. There's no lactose in it.
They flock towards it.
Yeah. So this is it's not what you expect when you see
What
the
I
color.
like is I could close my eyes and pretend it's not a hazy IPA.
That is correct. So there's a lot of loaded in with that statement that you said right there. I can sense it.
Yeah, we have a sordid history with this style of beer here on this podcast.
I see.
But not to detract from one that's well done. That's the thing.
And what I always say, and I've said it a million times, is like there's a lot of hazy IPAs out there that taste like orange juice and black pepper, and that's gross. And there's a lot of them that are really good. I have other reasons for not liking hazy IPAs. There's a lot of really good ones. What I like about this is you get the rye, and speaking of black pepper, like that's something you think of when you think of rye, but there's not that weird juicy sweetness that doesn't mix. Like it all sort of complements, and the German hops.
It also it finishes, for me at least, very dry.
Yeah.
Which is not a thing you get from New England IPAs very often.
No, and that's sort of a testament to the rye element.
Yeah.
We do a rye stout, and it's only like a 4. Actually, it's a really crazy. It's a rye Belgian stout, so it's got Belgian yeast, rye, and it's a stout, and it's only about 5%.
Wow!
But it feels like a lot bigger beer, and part of it is that backbone of the rye just kind of lends itself to those chocolate malts.
I think I need that in my life because I tend to gravitate towards higher ABV beers. So I need one that feels like a heavy one, but
isn't actually. Yeah,
it's got a great name too. It's called Nocturnal Indiscretion. So that's a real. So
very nice.
Oh
very
my
nice.
goodness! But you also brought a dunkel. I'm sorry. I want to move on to this,
and I'm going to swig some water. So
you're going to have to
clean
clear
as
that palate.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But this is a good one. So this is this is a classic German style dunkel. And Craig Wenzel is our master brewer, and he loves lagers. So that's on the spectrum of things. If he could just make lagers, he would. But we make everything.
That's what you should do.
Well, no, but here, my viewpoint on this is if you only want to make the style of beer that you want to make, you should stay in your garage, because that's where he and I started out.
That's a fair point. That's a
because
fair point,
I'm the money side of the house, and I can tell you, this whole element of selling. No, I just want to sell beer,
right?
Because if I wanted to just sit there and tell my friends how great this one style is, your friends might like it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of like make beer for people that drink beer.
Yeah. See, there's a balance though, and there's a brewery in Pennsylvania. We are very good friends with the owner, and I'm debating if I actually want to call him out right now or not.
Oh, yeah.
So he started his brewery on
Hangman.
Oh, I know him.
Codename Hangman. That's not the real name.
They started out. They're going to do open top fermentation, and it's only going to be beer for beer nerds. And then after like a year or two, he's like, "All right, barrels are done. We're not aging anything. We're not doing
Hangman
open."
Actually, a brewery. Is there a brewery called Hangman?
There's one that's in production. And that's where I thought you were going with that.
I was using that as a code name. So just a disclaimer, that's not who we're talking about.
I was going to say they couldn't be because they're not open yet.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, they did away with all of their fancy stuff, and now it's IPAs, double IPAs, New England IPAs, and it's what's going to sell. And like, I give the man credit for creating things that will sell and will pay the bills. Like, that's you're a businessman, do that. But you should also, I think, keep some stuff for the beer nerds, the people who really want it. Like, having a dunkel is very cool, and not many people do it.
This unnamed person who wouldn't care if we named him anyway.
True.
I mean, it's not like they've completely shifted. Like, they still make
They do, but it was
you can still go in there and get a Pilsner.
It was a big deal when they got rid of the barrels.
Yeah,
that was a lot.
That was a watershed moment in our podcast.
Yeah,
but anyway,
a barrel program takes a long time, and it's really what it's about. I mean, we have a barrel program too. We do barrel aged beers as well.
Ooh.
So so we kind of run the spectrum on the things that we do at our place. So if you're going to do barrels, it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just say I'm a barrel. You open up your doors and you're a barrel business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you could have the barrels there for like 3 years and then decide you're going to move them to put in more fermenters so you can make more hazy IPAs.
Hey, I don't know who the guy is. What do you want me to say there?
But anyway, this Dunkel is really nice.
I haven't taken a sip yet.
I really like it. So this is subtle pulchritude, which you said means
pulchritude means beauty.
Beauty.
So doesn't it kind of fit with it?
Subtle
look
beauty.
at this! Look at this! Look at these faces.
Oh, it's so good.
It's delicious.
Oh,
It's
you
really-
guys! So the thing is, we have three lagers on right now, and lagers are not a thing that a lot of craft brewers can do because you have to dedicate space and time, all those types of things. It's a whole different production process. Craig is really into them, and we brought 3 of ours out to the Sagerbund down at the Oktoberfest here. It's an event a couple weeks ago. So we have a Helles that we do. We have a Marzen, and we have this. We also have a Viennese. Imperial Viennese that we do called Merry Pranks, which is another one, and we have this, which we kind of amp up and we turn into a Doppelbock. That's a big German beer that we'll get you. We'll get you guys a crowler of it up there somehow. I go up to Philly a lot. I work in Philly.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I'm still one of those guys that has a couple of different jobs.
That's fair. Man, Troganator. So this is still one of my favorite go-to beers.
I have a bottle of barrel-aged Troganator in the fridge.
Doppelbock is such a great style.
Yeah. And even Dunkel is super underrepresented in beer overall. I mean, unless you're in Germany. So, being from Pennsylvania, there's a pretty hefty German culture there. Especially we're from Pennsylvania, Dutch territory originally. To have this kind of stuff it blows my mind that it's something that a lot of people don't do. But then again, it's not as prevalent when you're not in central Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And even bordering into Philly. Like this, I shed a tear every time I see a good Dunkel around.
Or a Helles, or a good Pilsner, or any of that, those sort of old world continental styles. Really nice.
Oh, there's the malt sweetness. Oh, jeez.
It's really good.
Oh, Craig's going to love this for sure. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you can always, and it's funny, and I forget who we were talking to not that long ago, said if you walk into a brewery and you sit down and order a Pilsner, the first thing they're going to say to you, "Oh, what brewery do you work at?"
Yeah. No, that's the spectrum of things because it went from the real hoppy stuff, and then the sours became a thing, and then it's supposed to be the whole spectrum. You've kind of reached it when you're going back to lagers and you're trying to make those because to be honest, I mean, lagers kind of get a bad rap because that's what kind of took over the beer and the scene. But the reality is making lagers is not that easy because you don't get to cover it up with stuff.
Yeah,
you got to make a good product. You got to, and it's got to have the right flavors and not the off flavors, not the butter, not the apples. Yep. All those things you got to do right. And
it's not difficult to make a juice bomb. It's not difficult to make a pastry stout, or take something that like you have a base beer that is off or even infected,
right?
And
you can cover it
and throw a bunch of adjuncts at it and throw it in a barrel or whatever. But a nice clean lager is like that is like a litmus test. Like that is like, if you can make a nice clean lager, you know how to brew beer,
right?
And then you can do all the crazy shit.
And things like Pilsners got a bad rap because of the macro beers that do them. And as much as they may not be my cup of tea, there's a lot of hard science that goes into brewing it consistently at that level.
Oh yeah.
It's like our Helles. I mean, it's our answer to the person that comes in. I just want a really light beer. It's around 4.5%. It's got a real clean taste. I mean, I tell people, look, it's going to taste a little different than what you might be thinking, of a beer of this color because it's all grain. There's no rice. There's no corn. It's got a little more flavor than what you're it's kind of what you get when you go get a beer in Germany that's that color. It doesn't taste like Budweiser. I remember I went to this place in England, a French restaurant, and I always tried to find things that I'd never had before, and there was this thing called Boudoir on there.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, and they brought it out. I was like, this is Budweiser, but it wasn't Budweiser.
Yeah.
It was because Budweiser came here from somewhere else.
Yep.
Where and it's a different company and a different everything. And this beer was actually pretty good. I was like, this is not what I expected, because I was disappointed in myself that I went and got a Budweiser.
Fooled. Yeah,
I always say it and I haven't said it in a while on the show, really. I was in Germany when I was 17, and my biggest...
I feel like you said it recently.
Did I? My biggest regret was I was 17, and I didn't like beer.
Oh, wow.
I know. I got to go back now that I know better.
You didn't have a beard then, I guess. That was once your
couldn't
beard
grow it.
grew
That's
in.
true.
That's where it came from.
No. The closest thing to a beard I got was I forgot to shave my neck for a week.
I forgot to shave my neck. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's all that was. But now I got to go back. I have to go back.
Yeah, I've been to Munich a couple times.
Yeah.
We did go to the Hofbrauhaus in Munich.
Yes, I've been there.
Oh, it was great. And that's where my love of Wiener Schnitzel came from, because it was made well.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the beer. I had pretzels and I had Wiener Schnitzel, and I got to go back and I got to do it again. And I got to go to other breweries and do it right. Maybe we can put that on the business tab.
Oh, yeah. Because we can afford
it. Yeah, Beer Busters can totally afford a trip to Germany. Just for one of us, and it's me.
Because we're a Fortune 500 company here.
Yeah, Fortune bottom 500.
Oh, Lord. We are way off track.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, Wilmington Brew Works, love the Dunkel.
Yes.
I like the IPA as well. I like the rye. I like that you're doing something different with it. I like that the brewer appreciates lagers.
Absolutely.
Always a good sign. It's great to meet you. We're going to have to come out. We've been saying this to every brewery today. Like, normally our episodes are we go to a brewery and we do a whole episode at that brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Fests are kind of a different animal. And I think we really need to do like a Delaware, like the Summer of Delaware podcasts. And come down, and there's a bunch on the list today, and you guys included, that we would love to come out and
right off 95.
Yeah, and just focus a whole day.
Yeah,
you've got a stalker behind you. What's with the goggles?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that.
He wants to know about the goggles. Oh, well, I can't.
Somebody else had goggles earlier.
No, because I think it has to do with like the movie, Jurassic Park. And
were there goggles in
the guys that were doing the research stuff.
Oh, is it to stop from the venom, the acidic venom from the velociraptor?
I don't know. That's where I'm.
Because somebody said you might lose an eye.
That wasn't a velociraptor. It was a diplo something or other. Diplo. It's getting to that point.
It was
point.
Diplo? All right.
Yeah, there's been a lot of beer here.
Yeah, we've sampled. I mean, we've dumped a fair amount, but we've also sampled a lot.
Yeah, we have.
But yeah, so anyway, Keith, it was great to meet you.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely, guys.
Really enjoyed the beers.
Appreciate it.
And we look forward to more exciting things from Wilmington Brew Works.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll come out and we'll shoot some guns in that ballistic testing.
Probably have.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Enjoy the day.
Say, Yvonne, remember when I said I'd have to send away to NASA to calculate your bar tab?
Oh, yeah. We all had a good laugh, Mo.
The results came back today. You owe me $70 billion.
I took Spanish class in high school. 4 years, I don't remember a single thing except for Donde están mis pantalones? That is where Rosetta Stone comes into play. If I actually want to step up and learn another language, Rosetta Stone has continuously set the standard in learning to enable people to change their world by learning a new language. They've helped people find their voice for over 25 years. Their innovative, technology-driven language learning solution is used by thousands of schools, businesses, government organizations, and millions of people across the globe. They have courses in 30 languages. They're some of the most commonly spoken ones, like Spanish, Mandarin, and English, for those of you who need a refresher. And there are less prominent ones like Swahili, Swedish, and Tagalog, whatever the hell that is. You can get Rosetta Stone on iOS and Android, so you can take your learning with you on the go. And for you, as a listener of Beer Busters, Rosetta Stone is offering you a 24-month subscription for less than $8 per month. If you want in on that, and why wouldn't you? You want to head to rosettapodcast.com/beerbusters. 2 years, less than $8 a month. You can learn at least one brand new language. Thanks to Rosetta Stone. Start your language learning journey today. Remember in Seinfeld when they had the Summer of George? Sure. The Summer of George! Yeah, we're going to have the Summer of Delaware. That's going to happen.
Summer of Delaware. All right.
We don't have to wait till summer. But one of the breweries we need to include in the insert season of Delaware is Revelation Brewing. We've got Lou with us. How are you, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Thank you for
great.
coming up to the table.
So Lou told me he is the beer tender extraordinaire.
Absolutely.
He serves beer. He plans events. He what's the word I'm looking for?
Organizes?
No.
Does it
no.
all.
Does it all. Does it all. Evangelizes. That's what I was looking for. He's a brand evangelist.
There we are.
Yes, he evangelizes Revelation. But so we just seconds ago, before we officially jumped into this interview, we talked about why you are called Revelation, not Revolution.
Correct.
Brewing
Revelation.
Company. So why don't you tell us where that name came from?
So it's multi-part. The Book of Revelations is a story from the Bible, New Beginnings. Our head brewer, Patrick, used to work for Dogfish, one of their higher-ups in the brewing process and the quality control. And he decided to set out on his own and create Revelation. So it is his new beginning. So also with that, Revelation...
also, he's a four-headed dragon. Isn't there a four-headed dragon in the Book of Revelation?
Didn't read it, so I honestly can't tell you. Yeah.
That's fair. I didn't either. I just...
The other hand, a revelation is a new and brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick always holds a very significant Oktoberfest.
Okay.
His name is Patrick Staggs, the Stagtoberfest.
Cool.
And when he had it in his house, a neighbor of his came over and asked to try some of his beer that he had on tap. And he's like, "Oh, where's this from?" And our head brewer was like, "Oh, I made this myself." They asked if he was going into business with it, and something fell through before. And he joined on, and now we have the official Revelation Brewery.
Dogfish Head alum. I don't know. I couldn't name very many breweries off the top of my head started by people who formerly were at Dogfish Head.
There's been a couple.
I'm sure there have. I just don't know. I feel like there's a couple Pennsylvania breweries. Like I always think of like Weyerbacher.
Yeah.
Familiar with Weyerbacher up in like the Easton area. They are a brewery where like every like head brewer that goes through there goes on to open their own place. Like they're like a launch pad brewery for other breweries. There's a lot of places like that, but good place to come from, Dogfish Head.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So does that mean that some of your beers have the like left of center kind of feel behind them?
No, I don't believe so. What we focus on at Revelation is having something on for everyone. We do everything from stouts to IPAs to sours. We go all across the board, and we like to keep all of those on tap. One of the questions I get the most, being in a more, I don't want to say resort area, but a highly tourist trafficked area, is husbands who bring their wives, or how some people that don't drink beer at all. And they'll say, "What do you have for me?" So we at Revelation have all these different beers that we kind of try as a kind of a baseboard. One of them actually being what you have in front of you. And we try and convert those people just to give you a little bit of a taste of what it's like to have a nice, easy drinking beer that everyone will enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's important when you're a brewery. A lot of breweries kind of sort of have those gateway beers that they try to use to bring in either people who aren't into beer or people who are used to drinking like Coors and Bud and
that's what I get a lot too.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, but I think being in a like a somewhat touristy area, it's important to have that because you're not going to get necessarily the crowd like. Like Phoenixville, where we're from, like in Pennsylvania,
sure,
is a place where there's a number of really awesome breweries. So if you go there you're a beer person. Like you go there to hit the breweries.
Absolutely.
But if you're in a place that people are going to just to travel, like you have to have that sort of broad appeal thing to bring them in the door and sort of introduce them.
At Revelation, we don't serve wine or liquor. All we have is beer.
Mm-hmm.
So we really put in the extra effort to make everyone feel welcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Where is this heavily touristy area, I have to ask?
We're based in Rehoboth, Delaware.
I was going to ask if it was Rehoboth because that's the only touristy area I can think of in Delaware.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that place has grown significantly, especially since the time that I have been living there. There's about 10 breweries within like a 10-mile radius. So before, people would come for the beaches and stay for the breweries, and now people come for the breweries and stay for the beaches.
Right. Yeah. Can you drink beer on the beach there?
Depends on where you go.
Okay, so some of them not.
Yeah, so guarded beaches, no. Certain non-guarded beaches, yes.
You can. Interesting.
I was in, as glamorous as it is, Atlantic City. A couple of months ago, we went on the beach, and the first time I was at the beach in forever. And we were right by the Land Shark Jimmy Buffett outdoor.
Like Margaritaville
yeah,
bar.
and like we kind of had to hide our beers when we went onto the beach. I like cocktails. We went onto the beach because we weren't sure if we were allowed to have them. And it's always, since then, it's been this thing that's more prevalent in my mind because that's, like, you should be able to drink whatever, wherever, as long as you're responsible.
I can understand.
So I have a little bit of a biased opinion. I am also a beach guard, and from that point of view, you definitely don't want those guys in your water. It makes your life a lot harder.
That's the thing. Responsibility is always going to be key when you're drinking, no matter what the application is. But if I go to a beach, I feel like I should be able to have a can of beer if if I am responsible. And obviously, things get out of control. The guards can come in and say no, you're done, or get out or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's just me thinking that I want to drink wherever I want to because I'm stubborn like that.
I'm right here with you.
But I feel like I should be able to.
Yeah, I can understand not allowing glass containers.
Oh, right.
On a beach.
Yeah, that's pretty much banned across all beaches.
That definitely.
Because that makes sense. That makes sense. But
yeah,
but luckily we are not on a beach right now.
That's true.
We are in a history museum where we can drink. So I really want to try this Moscow Mule beer. This is the Sussex County Mule.
Yeah, so there's 3 counties in Delaware where Revelation is. It is Sussex County, and it is a light blonde ale brewed with ginger and lime zest. So it is our light beer version of Moscow Mule. And as we were talking about before about having that base beer for non-beer drinkers, that's usually my baseline.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably be...
Honestly, I don't know which one it is.
This one? All right, there you go.
Smells like lime, I would imagine. So this is the gateway for non-beer drinkers.
I use that for my baseline. For people who I only drink light beer or I don't drink beer at all, I usually give that one for my first test. And depending on what they say is where I go. But it's a very light, easy drinking beer that's crisp, it's refreshing, and it's different. So even people who are like, oh, I don't want a beer that tastes like beer, it's got that nice lime taste to it, and it has that background flavor of ginger that just kind of puts it together.
Yeah.
It does. The ginger, it almost has a little bit of fresh mint. And maybe that's the ginger
I can see where
I'm getting.
I think that would be the ginger.
Yeah. I was getting in the very back end, like mint leaf, almost like a mojito kind of vibe.
So it's funny that you mentioned that. We at Revelation we have 16 beers on tap, and then that always includes 1 cask beer.
Mm-hmm.
Just we take one of our more popular beers and we change it up a bit. And we actually did do a mojito version of that mule.
Ooh.
A little bit of mint to it, and it was very refreshing with that mint style.
That sounds like it would be really good, yeah.
I feel like mojitos are very underrated beverages.
Oh, 100% agreed. I'm not afraid to admit that I do love a mojito.
Oh, they're great. I haven't had one in a very long time, but every time I've had one, it's been just what I needed.
Yeah, way back in the olden days when I lived in Reading, there was a bar down the street from me that I used to go to all the time, and they would have mojitos on special all the time. That was the thing that they did.
There's nothing wrong with a mojito.
Yeah, and that was actually the first time I ever even heard of a mojito was at this bar. I never even knew what it was before, but they made really amazing mojitos.
What's actually in a Moscow Mule? I don't think I know.
Lime.
It's
ginger.
Lime, ginger beer, and vodka. And
is that all it is?
Put it in ice in a copper mug, and you got a Moscow Mule.
Interesting.
Very nice. I love ginger, and I recently had, I forget the brand name, but those really pure ginger beers, not like ginger ale, but
Gosling, I think.
I had one. It wasn't that, but it was from the UK. But I really like that pure ginger flavor.
Sure.
And it's really nice in beer too.
It's nice palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Goes all the day. It's nice. It's crisp. It's refreshing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good.
I had a teacher when I was in broadcasting school that would always tell us it's Moscow. There are no cows in Moscow, and he drilled that into our head, and I still find myself saying Moscow.
It's
especially
Moscow,
with the drink.
You want to go there. Go to Moscow.
I don't want to go there.
Well, all right, so I also want to move on to this the obligatory New England IPA. So this is called Centennial Flight because it has
Centennial hops and Falconer's Flight hops. It's one of our more popular IPAs. It's not something that we keep on year-round like we do the Mule, but it's in rotation very often. A lot of people really enjoy it.
Definitely a crowd pleaser. It's very good. It's not... So I always feel like I have to tell people this who have never been on or listened to our show before. We have very strong opinions about the hazy IPA style of beer. Mostly we are annoyed by them. But... they're not all bad, and when I have a good one, and I would say it's I don't know, maybe a 50-50 hit rate, maybe even a 60-70. I actually don't think most of them are bad. I just get really annoyed when you go to a brewery and you want to get a flight of beer and 5 of them are any IPAs.
Sure.
I want to try other things, You know, I want to have a lager. I want to have a beer that tastes like a Moscow Mule. You know, but this is a very easy drinking. This actually is a little more. I would almost say like traditional IPA. Like it's not super into that like super sweet. Super soft.
It
like
has a
it's
little
still,
more sweetness than a regular IPA,
but it
which
still has the hop like character.
Yeah, it complements it very well because it doesn't overpower anything at all.
Well, that's actually one of the things I really appreciate about Revelation's brewing style. I was a regular before I was a bartender, and one of the things that I really liked about it, and I talked to the head brewer and the other brewers about this, and they like making a very well-balanced beer.
Yep.
No matter what we have, we don't want a certain flavor to overpower the whole beer itself. So everything's kind of incorporated in, so nothing's overpowering. Like the mule, like you don't get too much lime, you get enough.
Right.
So it's everything's kind of in its own place. We have for example, the raspberry sour. That's one of our more popular ones. I wish we had it on. Couldn't fit it in my car. But,
fair.
It's brewed with 25 pounds of raspberries for every 32 gallons of beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So. First of all, it's amazing. It's actually the first sour I ever liked, and I became a sour fan because of that beer.
That says a lot about something, yeah.
You know, it wasn't something that overpowered the beer. Like, it had its place in it, but nothing overpowers.
So at Revelation, what's the situation there? Tap room, food. You guys do food trucks?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in a pole barn tucked behind the main avenue of Rehoboth.
Okay.
We're just off the beaten path. There is a bike trail. That's called the Breakwater. It goes from Lewis, Delaware to Rehoboth, Delaware, where we're based out of. And it's a very popular beach area. And we are in a pole barn. We're in West Rehoboth, which is a little bit different than your regular Rehoboth. But we have a whole tap room. And you can see our entire brewing operation from the tap room.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Very small.
Yeah.
But we have 16 beers on tap. One of them being a nitro. And one of them being a cask beer.
Yeah.
And we also have a food truck that is a part of us. They do wood-fired pizza, wood-fired wings. They do some great stuff.
In a truck?
In a truck. We import our flour and our cheese from Italy.
Oh, wow.
00 flour and Italian water buffalo mozzarella, which I did not know was a thing until I tried it. And
buffalo mozzarella.
Water buffalo mozzarella.
Okay.
It's life-changing. I wish I could say it was a joke, but I have gained 15 pounds since I started working at that brewery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I appreciate a good cheese. I could see a cheese being life-changing. Wow. So you said the food truck is like in conjunction with the brewery?
Yes. So it's a part of the Revelation family under a different name.
Okay.
They call it Denise Pizza.
Okay.
But they are there year-round. They are a part of us.
Right.
And we're open 7 days a week.
Cool. Very cool. I want to try this mozzarella.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would. I kind of do too.
Got to come down to South Delaware.
I love
I
cheese.
think we can make that happen.
I love
Lower,
cheese.
slower Delaware.
Yeah.
Lower, slower Delaware.
That's the thing.
Okay. All right. I like it. Lower, slower Delaware. I also wanted to ask, I noticed, so we talked about the name Revelation. Is that a sword in the R?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So actually one of the reasons I was most excited about working with Revelation was their gear. I think I own one of almost everything that we have. Yeah, so our logo is a large R with a sword on fire going down the R.
Wow.
It kind of keeps with that biblical Revelation theme, but it's on everything that we have, from hats to shirts to tank tops and hats. It's awesome.
Yeah. I give you credit for still liking a place that you were a regular before you got the job there, because I have worked places that I loved before I was there, and now I hate these places. So I'm kind of jealous of your experience with that.
Well, I mean, we've heard people on the show before that have said, I was a regular before I worked here.
But like I went to Best Buy every week for new CDs because I love music, and then I got a job at Best Buy, and now I hate Best Buy.
Yeah, you got fired.
Well, that's a different story.
For stealing a TV.
For buying a TV. And
a long time ago.
Worked at IKEA, loved it. Now I'm less enthusiastic
That's
about
not
it.
just, like, that's a badass fucking
Well, you have to
sword.
spend your next 48 hours trying to build something.
Yeah,
that you just
I bought a
bought.
dining room table that's still in the boxes. I bought it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you did.
No, I think the people at Revelation are great to work with. They're
good,
very critical about the people that they hire, so God only knows why they hired me. But
you're here all the time anyway. We might as well pay you.
The owners are great to work for. The people are great to work with. I am in full support of Revelation.
Very cool.
That's
Very
cool. That's cool. I really like. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the logo online now. I really like the sword.
Cool.
Yeah, no, and you can order our stuff online. We'll send it to you.
Oh, that's cool.
See, there you go.
I meant it. It's like an intricate drawing of a sword. Like it's not just.
I know
a
your
generic
listeners
sword.
can't hear, but just feel the shirt. You got
it like
yeah, they're real nice.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah, actually, it's funny because we don't really get T-shirts made for the podcast anymore because it's such a fucking hassle. But this is like the last T-shirt we actually had made.
It's a solid shirt.
Yeah. Well, it was Dan's idea. I did the design, but it was Dan's idea for it's all different like beer styles in the shape of our logo. But we went cheap. This shirt, you can feel my shirt. It feels like almost like
might as well.
sandpaper.
Okay.
It's
that,
pretty shit.
Get the whole chafe.
Yeah. But we went cheap. But we had shirts we got a while ago that were like similar to that, and that's a really nice material. This is now T-shirt busters.
I outgrew my Beer Buster shirt. That was nice, and I wish we had more. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just me.
We should put a sword in our logo. I'm gonna add a sword to our logo.
Go ahead. You're the designer. Go ahead. Make it happen. I don't know where it would work, but you'll find a way. All right, so we had the Moscow Mule, Sussex County Mule. Apologies. The Centennial Flight. I don't know if I had missed this earlier. How long has Revelation been there?
So we hit our 3rd anniversary this past July.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cool thing about Revelation is we are actually expanding very quickly, very soon. There was a brewery in Georgetown, Delaware, which is about 20 minutes west of where we are, that closed down with 8 times our brewing capacity that we ended up purchasing.
Oh, cool.
So we are in the process of building that back up, and pretty soon you'll see us all across Delaware.
It's going to be like distribution then, like a lot of
we just got our own canning line. So we have plans to produce across Delaware into Pennsylvania. We have a bunch of gluten-free beers actually. That,
really?
You think of gluten-free beers that are kind of a little bit of a hesitation, but the 3 that we have are all award winners.
Cool. Are they like gluten removed after the fact, or are they made with gluten-free grain?
One of them that we have is that we just put out is called the Truth in the Juice IPA that we actually currently have on tap, and that won a gold medal for a gluten-free beer. I believe it was at the Great American Beer Festival, if I'm not wrong. Northeast Brewing Festival is where we won the gold medal, and we also got a silver medal for our Buckberry Sour, which is a blackberry sour brewed with buckwheat.
Oh, okay.
The buckwheat is what makes it gluten-free.
Right.
But there's a heavy market for it, and we've been putting them out. Like I said, our motto is to keep something on for everyone.
Yeah.
So people who can't have gluten, we always try and keep at least one.
Yeah. That's always the challenge. We've talked to a number of breweries that do gluten-reduced or gluten-free beers, and doing a truly gluten-free, like from beginning, using gluten-free grains, like buckwheat and millet and spelt, I think is gluten-free. I'm not an expert.
That sounds right.
Sure. But it's very difficult. Like, it's one thing to make a beer the traditional way and then take the gluten out. It's another thing to try and make a beer with no gluten from the beginning. Like, that's really challenging. I think a sour is a good way to go, though. I feel like that would be...
So two out of the 3 ones that we put out were sours. Our most popular one was an apricot sour called the Co-Conspirator that we did with apricot, and we soured with coconut water. And that won a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. 2 gold medals, actually.
Wow. Cool.
It's an amazing beer. You would never guess it would be gluten-free.
Right, yeah. Huh. Now, did you win in the... Was that categorized as gluten-free for the award, or was it categorized as like a fruited sour?
I believe... Don't quote me on this.
I think they do one...
They do both.
Each? Yeah.
I believe they got one for each.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense. You said 2.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really awesome.
I just found out that at the Asian International Beer Competition, we had 2 gold medals from there and the USA Brewery of the Year.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool.
I've never even heard of that competition.
Yeah, thank you.
That's pretty awesome.
I wish I could take the credit for it, but...
yeah. I just pour it.
Yeah, right.
Somebody else makes it. I just pour it and talk about it. Well, man, it was awesome to meet you. Great to hear about Revelation. It's been a revelation for us, dare I say. Dan just rolled his eyes really hard.
Wow. I'm pretty sure they could hear me rolling my eyes at that.
Yeah, I could hear it too. Yeah, we definitely need to come down and do like a whole series of episodes. At Delaware
we'd be happy
Breweries.
to have you.
You'd be on that list totally.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, really like that Moscow Mule beer.
Yeah,
that was
really
pretty
good.
awesome.
Here, there's another sip of it
yeah,
left.
I
Go
might
ahead
take
and have
another
it.
sip. I got to work tomorrow, man.
Yeah,
Gotta
me
slow
too.
down.
Me too. Yes, but Lou, thank you so much for coming up to the table and sharing these with us and the information.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure, and we hope to see you down in Rehoboth.
We'd love to. Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Cool. Well, thank you
man.
so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a fast 3 years since we were last here, and this event is one of the ones that always pops up in my mind as one that I've loved and I wanted to get back to. And here we are, 2019, following the 2016 edition of it. But I'm very excited that we have Ron with us, who is the chair of the event. Ron, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Very good, very good.
I have to say, of course, thank you for having us out here. This is incredible.
Hey, we like having you guys out here.
Oh, it's amazing. I love this event so much. Bit of a history nerd, bit of a science nerd. I don't know anywhere near as much as I'm sure everyone here else knows, but I'm also a beer nerd, and I love this kind of stuff. And it
works well together. Nerds and beer. How does that work?
Yeah, right.
Great.
It works wonderful. Wonderful.
I love potato chips too. It's so fantastic.
Potato chips are
pretty
always good.
We have a podcast crasher.
We do.
Somebody sat down. How
I
you
did,
doing?
and I put the whole headphones on myself, and I think that your marker collection is fantastic.
Oh, thanks. We try to have a wide variety of hues to work with. So we were out talking, and I know you haven't always been the chair of this event. We had your predecessor on last time we were here.
Right.
But do you recall, because we weren't quite sure, this event didn't always include beer. It was originally just a wine.
It was again, the name, the pun is wine and dine Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, right? Yeah.
But I think that just the expansion of the craft beer phenomenon has brought in the beer, and if you walk around the event today, you're going to see it's probably about 50-50.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. And I wanted to say that the year we were here, 2016, was the first year that beer was incorporated. Though I was talking to one of the brewers, and they said they thought it was the year before. So I wasn't entirely sure, but it was around
the year
there.
before.
2015.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And my predecessor Kurt is a huge wine fan, so just to kind of give everything a balance here, you got the wine, not the wine guy, but the beer guy today. So
oh, nice.
Oh, I'm the beer girl. I love wine. I'm French, but beer is such the focal point of this event right now. I feel like I love wine. It's fantastic, but your beer was the standout winner of this entire event. You guys really brought it. You brought beers from Maine. You brought beers from everywhere. You did specific craft things that no one else does. And quite frankly, I kept telling people, buy the tickets. It's worth it for the beer. And everyone's like, oh, okay, the wine and dinosaurs. It's so snobby. It's not snobby. It's fantastic. It's approachable.
If I'm here, it's not snobby.
No, not at all. I mean, there's
attacked by T-Rex.
We've got to blow up dinosaurs right here, right now.
Yeah.
But it is fantastic, and I seriously am a wine lover, and I came here and I came away with the takeaway that there's so many better beers than wine in Delaware right now.
Absolutely.
And you need to get on board with it, whether you want to or not. The beer is the place to be, and I hate craft breweries for the most part, but I think that you guys have stepped up.
Hot take.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I will say
honestly,
so
fantastic.
we are based primarily out of the Philadelphia area. Right. We focus mostly on Pennsylvania beer with a little bit of New Jersey on the side. Delaware is not a place we've gotten into a lot. In fact, the last time we were here in 2016 was really the only time we've done a podcast in Delaware.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because back then we had a lot of breweries on, many of which we've had on again today, and they were very promising. And we were like, oh, these are really cool. And it was like, oh, we're just starting out. We're just getting started. We've only been around for a little bit. And a lot of really cool things. Looking forward to seeing. Coming back 3 years later and seeing how just getting the bare impression just from the little bit that exposure we've had here of how the beer scene has grown in Delaware.
It has definitely grown. We've got like Wilmington Brew Works is one of the breweries we have this year for the first time, but there was other breweries that just you only have so much space,
right?
Yeah,
and then you run into the issue of the folks that have been with you all along. And I'm going to shout out to 2SB, who's just been a great partner. They do us a private reserve beer every year, and they've done the Bunsen Burner, which is a strong ale that's aged in rum barrels this year. They've been great partners, and the craft brew community is just fantastic. In Delaware, in Pennsylvania, and South Jersey, it's a fantastic community. And you going to be all right?
I'm going to be all right. I just smelled the Bunsen burner for the first time. It's pretty intense.
It's intense, yeah. The 2SP guys have us out every year, and we go to the tasting room, and they're like, "What do you guys like?" And we can blend a couple things together, or is there stuff that you are interested in? And just a personal preference is I despise pumpkin beers. It's ridiculous.
I respect that. I
It's
totally
ridiculous.
respect that. Yeah.
There are a few that are done well, but overall,
It's like come on, really?
Yeah.
It's the whole pumpkin spice thing is just overdone. But they always come up with something great. They have that, and all the breweries just do a fantastic job. We don't get their flagship that you can get anywhere. They bring their good stuff. It's the stuff that they're one-off. Which means it's they respect this event as much as we respect the brewers, and it's a great community. We reach out to these folks every year, and they're like, "What can we do for you?"
Yeah,
they're just great partners.
It's really cool to see too, and we kind of talked a little bit like, you walk around, you look around, you can kind of see the wine people, and you kind of see the beer people. But the really cool thing is that like there's also really nice food and hors d'oeuvres here, and. Just we've been to a million beer fests. I don't think we've done a lot of fests that were beer and wine other than this one.
Yeah. The lines here I think are blurred between beer and wine, which I love.
Yeah.
But every other fest, it's either you go somewhere that is strictly wine tastings or it's beer.
I mean, there's some crossover, and we've definitely come across some wine people in our beer travels, but. This is a cool event, like you said. This is like 50-50. It's like, have people here for the beer, have people here for the wine. Some of them are here for both. I mean...
Well, there's also the cocktail table.
And
Let's not forget about that.
Yeah,
I had a really good Manhattan from over there.
Yeah.
It's such a unique venue as well to have an event like this. Like, coming from our side of it, from the beer world, is like... We've been to Beer Fest in, like, the Navy Yard in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. You're in a big warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. It's
or
a
you're
big,
in a
wide
tent.
open space or a convention center.
Yeah.
There's some that are some more unique locations. But this is the most unique location we've come to a beer fest in.
Yeah, it's a unique event in the Delaware. I mean, everybody's got a fundraiser in the Wilmington area, but this one's unique. It's like yesterday we had the Kennett Brew Fest just up the road in Kennett Square.
Right.
Yeah.
But you walk in, you have to pay an entrance fee, and then you have to pay for everything.
Yeah.
Much.
I didn't realize
you have to pay for food. Excuse me, for food.
Yeah.
For food. Here, you walk in, you're good for the day. Whatever you want to do,
it's great.
It's a great event. And it's for a great cause. This museum is unique. Been associated with this museum for 7 years. Doing great work. Not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but we're going to be going through some changes here at the museum.
We did hear a little bit from Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, not officially on the show, but we talked to him off mic.
Yeah.
About
So
it.
kind of off the record is the museums as they are just kind of a little bit dated by definition, but the museum's trying to evolve, and the term we're using is a metamorphosis.
Oh, cool.
And we want to
Metamorphosize.
Wow.
That's tough to say.
Metamorphosize. Let me have another beer.
That's a tough one.
Metamorphosize into something new. It's going to be more interactive.
Yeah.
Part of it is we're going to take the museum outside the walls. We're going to be more out into the local community centers, involved there, go to schools. We've got our Evolution Trail outside the museum, which is going to go out into the wilderness and kind of give you an idea of what evolution has looked like over time and things like that. It's going to be a different museum. It's going to be not only natural history, we're going to try incorporating science into it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Very cool. Very cool. And I mean, and I heard, and we talked to Cal a little bit about some of those plans coming up, and I agree. A refresh is a great idea, but even just walking around as it is now, I mean, this is a really incredible, just a museum. Like, not even just like thinking about the event today, but just looking at the exhibits and the things and the little coral reef sort of diorama under the floor there. That's amazing.
If you come here during the day when there's little kids here. And this is a podcast. You can't see it, but there's this plexiglass in the floor. You get the little kids will come up and they stop dead.
Yeah,
and they like stare at it, and then they like lean down and it's like, can I walk across this?
Yeah. Well, even I've done the double take every time I've walked over it.
Yeah,
exactly.
We've seen enough people doing that.
Yeah, it's like
right now.
That lady just
literally
like,
right
wait
now.
a minute, can I walk across that?
It's just like an unconscious thing. It's so cool. It's such a neat little feature.
Cool.
Yeah,
and not only do we have the museum on this floor, is if you go upstairs, there's a research department. We're one of the nation's largest in mollusks, in birds and eggs.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
So for any of our beer podcast listeners who are interested in that, we can give tours of the eggs and birds in the area. We've got people who work all through the Mid-Atlantic area who track migration of birds.
Oh, wow.
And they know where they're going this year versus last year and what the changes in the environment cause to their mating seasons, where they nest, all their feeding areas. Same thing on the mollusks. We track that, and what happens is the environment changes, good, bad, what it does to those. And we've got experts on a nationwide level that handle those types of things. So it's not only the little kids coming in and look at the dinosaurs, but we are our research museum.
Oh, that's really cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. And very cool event. I imagine you guys do other fundraising events throughout the year.
We do, but this is our biggest one of the year. We shut down the museum for the whole day.
Yeah.
It's but this is it's a fun event.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
And
a fun
this
event.
is, I got to check my notes real quick. The 13th
year.
annual. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
13th annual. We're hoping to break our record this year. We'll see what happens. It's been a great event so far.
Yeah.
We have a great silent auction going off the beer, but we have a bottle of Pappy Van
Yeah,
Winkle.
there's been a lot of talk about this bottle.
That.
Yes.
$1,500 was the winning bid on that.
Oh, God.
$1,500.
If only.
Yeah. So what does a shot of that go for, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
But it's a great event. I enjoy this every year. I have my whole family out here volunteering.
Yeah.
It's just a great event.
Yeah, really cool, really
Yeah.
cool. And like I would say definitely if you're listening to this, plan to come out next year to the
Yes.
amazing event. But even if you're around, just come to the museum and hang out. It's a really cool museum. A lot of really cool things to see.
Yep.
Outside, the grounds around
Yes.
here are beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice. It's a cool place to be, and cool events like this one.
It is.
to check out. Definitely.
Yeah, I was super excited when I found out we were coming back this year. It's a great area. Event is fantastic. I mean, we're sipping on what did we figure out this was 11-12%?
11 or 12%, yeah.
And that's just one of the beers that are here, and it's a great beer, and all the beers here were
And also
fantastic.
wine. I mean, we don't
And
know
the
anything
yeah,
about wine, but
not-
if you
not
do,
the first thing.
it's a good wine event.
But come
too.
on down for the wine. I haven't had any wine yet today. That needs to change.
Why would you have wine when you have this much
I
good
know,
beer?
especially
There's
this
a lot of really
Bunsen
good
burner.
beers.
I'm going to get in trouble if I keep drinking that beer. That's not going to end well.
Yeah, but as I had a glass of this, and I went out to the ice cream truck that we had out there, and they threw some vanilla ice cream in it.
Oh yeah.
That's a good time.
Yeah, Cal was telling us vanilla ice cream with the stout from Maine
Brewing.
Beer Company
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a good combo.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good time.
I need to get out and get some of that ice cream at some point. I should probably do it sooner than later.
There you go.
Yes. Well, Ron, thank you so much for having us back out here. The event is
thanks for
wonderful.
coming out. We appreciate you
Oh, of
guys
course.
supporting the event.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course, without any doubt. And as often as you guys want to have us out here, we'll be here.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, it's certainly a cool thing.
Yeah.
to do.
Well, cheers to a fantastic event. Cheers to history, and science, and beer, and wine, and
And
food,
dinosaurs.
and dinosaurs. We can't forget the dinosaurs
And beer.
and beer,
And
of
beer.
course, beer again. Well, thank you so much, Ron. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, guys.
Well, another one is in the books. Wine and Dinosaurs 2019 has now come to a close.
yes, it has. It's been a fun.
It really was.
fun event.
It really was.
We got a different location this time. We're in this the mollusk hallway. I've been reading a lot about bivalves. Right over here in my line of vision.
You know what
Interesting
about
things.
the event? I didn't realize this until we had Ron on the chair of the event. I never really took it as wine and dine. Osaurs.
Yeah, wine and dinosaurs.
Nope. Didn't
No,
click.
No,
Did not
didn't get
click.
it. No.
But now I know.
Well, what we need an exhibit of the Beer Bustasaurus.
We do.
The Beer Bustasaurus, courtesy of Tim Floros from
Oh,
Levante. Yes,
Tim.
you can.
I'm
see-
a banana.
There he is, the Beer Bustasaurus. That's definitely go to patreon.com/beerbusters. That is one of the best, if not the best, punishment videos we've done.
Oh
so
my
far
God!
From Levante, that was fucking epic. Yeah,
I don't
that
want to
was
say
really
it
good.
because I don't want to give it away,
Yeah.
but nobody expected it to go down like that at all.
No, that was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome.
I'm super glad we got to talk to a lot of Delaware brewery people here, and hopefully we do actually get down here.
Yeah, we
record
mentioned
with
to
them.
a bunch of the guys that were on the show today that we would love to come to their breweries and do full episodes with them, and we meant it pretty much every time.
Yeah, I think we did every time.
But yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on in Delaware. We're not far away. It's just we haven't paid much attention to.
We're really not. And it gets me a lot of the time that podcasts are pretty much global and it doesn't matter where you are. And we tend to be more of a regional one.
Yeah.
But Delaware, we have more or less, I don't want to say ignored, but...
Yeah, no, we just haven't.
We haven't gotten down here.
Come around.
There's a lot.
I think it's because, geographically speaking, you and I are both from where Steph still lives, and that's more into the interior of Pennsylvania. So we kind of look that direction. But, like I said, when we were talking to Ron today, it feels like the beer scene in here, obviously Dogfish Head's been around forever, but the smaller indie beer scene has really seemed to grow even in the past couple of years since we were here last. So, yeah definitely worth checking out.
And it's not that far from where she is. Our intern for the day, Ron, was saying it took, an hour to get here?
Yeah, an hour 12.
Hour 12.
Yeah,
and he
that's not
stopped
bad.
at a record store.
Yeah, you went to a record store, too.
He got some pretty sweet vinyl. Yeah. We saw it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So.
That was a good haul.
But yeah, so Wine and Dinosaurs, definitely cool, definitely an interesting beer event, definitely something you should check out. We should wrap up quick here because we still got to do last call.
We still got to do last call, yes. Last call being, of course, where the patrons get to hear extra bonus, special, fun content. And all
we're going to drink some more of this Bunsen burner.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
It's
a good beer. It's a very good beer.
It's very good.
First and foremost, we need to say thank you to everyone at the Delaware Museum of Natural History.
Yes.
Every time I say
So
the
hard to
wrong
say.
thing. Delaware Museum of Natural History. For not only putting on this great event, but for having us back here for a second
it was
time.
really cool to be here.
And they've wanted us back here a lot in between the recordings, and it just didn't work out. And this time it did, and I'm very happy that it did. And hopefully there will be a next year for us here as well.
Yeah. Rate and review us on your podcast platform of choice.
Yes.
And all the podcasts you listen to, check us out. We are at Beerbusters on Instagram and Twitter. We are Beerbusters Podcast on Facebook. Go to beerbusterspodcast.com where you can follow along with all the cool things that we're doing. And, of course, patreon.com/beerbusters where you can get all the cool behind-the-scenes perks, including Last Call, which I am rapidly transitioning into so we can get it done because the event ends in like 8 minutes.
Yes, it does. Well, unfortunately, this brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. Seriously, it has been a lot of fun here, and the fader is not working on the iPad, so we're just going to go that way. And thank you to Ron McDonald for helping us today.
You're welcome.
Patron extraordinaire.
Yes, that is true. Filled in for Rich and did a pretty damn good job.
Hope Steph had fun. Hope Jen feels better.
Yes, that is true. Visit the Delaware Museum of Natural History. Visit beerbusterspodcast.com and patreon.com/beerbusters. I am Dan Baker. We are not joined by my co-host and brewologist Steph Hefner, but we are joined by the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
No squids were harmed this time, but we learned about them, and we'll see you next time.
I'm the bro host with the most.